Hey, welcome to Pushing Buttons. It's normally a bi-weekly
Hello.
podcast that we talk about video game stuff, but we've been talking about doing this episode for so long now.
Quite a while.
We're finally doing as you can see, our MCU branded episode.
The
capping
cinematic
off,
universe.
Yeah.
Pushing Buttons' Marvelous Adventures.
Yeah, I was going to say, capping off the My Marvelous Adventures throughout the fall of last year. And we're excited. We got some
Props.
of Robert's memorabilia.
He's got some
You guys
cool
wanna see
stuff
this, don't
here.
I was hoping that those briefcase things were like it was an actual latch, but
I got the orb.
I wish.
I've got nerds.
What have you got?
I didn't realize that came off like that. I thought it was just mounted to.
If you open it, there's actually an Infinity Stone inside.
Don't break it.
I have the power. I can't open it.
You don't have any power.
I don't want to break it.
You twist.
Do the twist.
I was gonna go twist and shout.
Oh my god! Ah! He's gonna burn.
I was gonna say it's purple, but it looks blue with our green screen.
Yeah, that's
Oh,
kind
it
of
does.
cool.
It is pretty cool.
Purple in real life.
Where's the space stone?
Space Stone is in here, in the Tesseract.
Where it belongs.
There you go. It's
Yes.
safe now.
We can't wield such power.
No, mere mortals.
Like I don't.
How's your
think-
hand? Is it okay?
I don't know what you're talking about. Damn it! I was gonna say I don't have hands anymore. If I had green gloves, it would have been perfect.
That would have been
Should have planned ahead.
missed
for that.
opportunity.
You're a monster.
We're already going off the rails. So just forewarning, this whole episode, or however long this ends up being, if it's more than one episode, then so be it. It's going to be off the rails. We're not talking about structured video game stuff that we normally plan ahead in advance. We're talking about the Phase 1, Phase 2, Phase 3 so far of the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Yes.
Because we're nerds, and that's what we like to do. We're not
Nerd it up.
always playing video games. We do other stuff, and Robert got me into the Marvel movies. And
You're welcome.
yeah, thank you for that.
Yeah.
We're not going to be talking about the other Marvel movies that weren't part of the MCU, at least for now. But,
Speaking of which, these were the actual sets you borrowed, huh?
yeah, they were. And then I think I ended up having to rent a couple of the Phase 3 movies off of PlayStation Store, and then watch whatever Netflix had before they added some of the other stuff. But Netflix has been pretty good about having at least the last 3 or 4 at a time of the Marvel movies.
Until Disney starts their streaming service.
I'm excited for that.
I am too.
I'm
I'm excited for the Star Wars shows, but that's a different podcast.
That is a different. It's not a different podcast, a different episode.
Different episode. Different
mean,
special.
We could probably have another podcast going because this is, as you see right here, it's just pushing buttons, and this isn't about video games. I would like to talk about Marvel video games though at some point too. We talked about superhero video games though, didn't we?
Yeah.
Go back and watch that episode and tell me how
Yeah, that was a
it
good one.
was, because I don't remember much
That
of
was
it.
back in the early days.
Yeah,
We've come so far.
we're in video.
We have backgrounds now.
You guys want to talk about Marvel?
Yeah.
So
I'm ready.
I remember when we started out, we didn't have video on this podcast. Marvel started off a little bit better with the MCU, with Iron Man. It was one of the actual good movies. of
Fantastic
Phase 1.
way to kick off the whole cinematic universe, I would say. A good introduction to what's to come.
I remember when it first came out, and I was always into, like superheroes and stuff, but I wasn't super into like Iron Man, which was considered, a B-list character back then.
Right.
He wasn't huge.
Yeah.
And so it was
Spider-Man, it was X-Men.
Yeah.
The ones that like Fox and Sony,
And Sony,
already
yeah.
made movies of.
And so it was a risk for Marvel to do it, but especially with Robert Downey Jr. with his reputation back then
absolutely.
too. And
But now he's
it's
synonymous.
hard to imagine that now.
He's synonymous with Tony Stark.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's
But-
like he never did drugs to begin with.
it's just like
He's
that.
like a new
yeah.
man.
But yeah, it was. I remember seeing it with my mom back in, what was it, 2008, I believe.
Sounds about right.
Yeah,
2008, yep.
should have done research on dates, but
Right
yeah.
next to the.
And I just remember the ending is what really stuck with me. Because right at the end, it's like, I am Tony Stark. He just announces it to the world.
well, no, I am Iron Man.
Sorry.
I mean, he was already Tony Stark. People knew who Tony Stark was.
But he's like, yes, I'm Tony Stark. Oh, hey, I'm Iron Man.
Right.
That's how it went.
Yeah.
I
But
am Tony Stark! Yeah, we know Tony.
He's
scrub
the
that from
Marvel
the
expert
record.
of the three
Shush.
of us.
I also get tongue-tied.
I know what you're saying because the whole point of superheroes is typically to keep your identity a secret.
Yeah.
And it went against the grain on that, and it made you want to watch more, not knowing
Yeah.
that the next movie was going to be
Exactly.
but we'll talk about. That was the second one, right?
Yes.
Okay. For me, Iron Man was actually the first Blu-ray I ever watched. It was the first movie in HD
That's true,
I had
yeah.
ever seen.
That's
Can't
when
remember
Blu-ray
the
was
first
taking
Blu-ray
off
for me.
Yeah.
And I had a PS3, and it was when I got my old 42-inch LCD TV, which I still have. I just don't use it anymore.
Wow.
Yeah, got it at a store.
Wow.
for money. I gave them money, and they gave me a TV. Who'da thunk? Yeah, Iron Man. It was a very formulaic action movie. It didn't go against the grain until the very end, in my opinion. I didn't think it was anything too special, but seeing what it grew into,
Yeah.
it was something different.
The possibilities it created was, I guess, more than the movie itself.
Right. And who was it that played Rhodey in that one?
That was
That was Cuba Gooding Jr., wasn't it?
no. It was the guy from Hustle and Flow.
Terrence Howard.
Thank you, Terrence
you.
Howard.
Yes.
Yes.
And then they replaced him with in the other movies.
Don Cheadle.
Don Cheadle. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. I'm terrible with actors' names, if you couldn't tell.
I'm good with him.
He's Tony Stark.
It's not an actor. It doesn't count.
An actor plays him.
Robert Downey Jr.
There we go.
I gotta say, I don't have any background for like the Marvel comics.
Yeah, same here.
I don't read comic books. I never really had a lot of experience with these heroes outside of the TV shows that were cartoons as a kid.
Yeah.
Like Fox had like the Spider-Man and X-Men cartoons. But I never really saw anything on the other heroes that these movies were made about, aside from, the 1970s Hulk live action show, which my parents loved. But I just took a shot out of the blue one day.
Bruce Banner.
Like Kevin, when you and I were working at Target back in the day,
Yeah.
I just went during my shift. Like
During
I
my
decided I want to go see Iron Man today, and I went by myself,
Oh, really?
and I went in my Target clothes. I didn't even change.
Wow.
That's funny. That's some dedication.
That's how excited I was to see it, and I was so blown away by it. I felt like the whole intro with Iron Man from Black Sabbath playing, that was so badass. Like I loved every portion of that whole scene. Like it was a great way to kick off the movie.
Yeah.
And I know you guys aren't really fans of AC/DC, but they fit, in my opinion, really well with those, at least first two movies. The third movie, they kind of slowed down on AC/DC, but
Yeah,
See, I'm not a big Sabbath fan either, but I know obviously Iron Man fits with Iron Man.
Tony Stark.
Tony's my guy. Tony Stark won. the Starkening.
but I didn't really think too much of Jeff Bridges as the villain. I thought he was kind of forgettable. General angry bald guy, and
Yeah, rich
Yeah.
white
yeah.
guy.
Which was a theme through a lot of early Marvel
It was,
movies,
yeah.
is a villain that,
That was kind of action movies at the point, though, at that time.
yeah, that's true as well.
But back then, I just feel like it was a great way to start this whole universe of movies.
See, at the time,
Good
and
introduction.
Even now, I kind of, it feels like that when they were planning that movie, that they didn't think it was going to get into what it is now, with all the characters that you see behind us all intertwined into one big story, like the comics ended up being. It seemed like they didn't have the plan for that, and it wasn't going anywhere. It was a standalone movie. It felt like to me, and it was to me, it was a mediocre movie. It wasn't a great movie.
It had its faults, but it was still a fun flick.
It looked really good,
For
and
2008, it was great.
It was really well casted. I don't know if it's Gwyneth Paltrow or Pepper Potts that I don't like. One of the two I don't like, and I'm not sure which.
See, I will say I was never a fan of Gwyneth Paltrow,
No.
but I've always enjoyed her as Pepper Potts. Like, I've always
Yeah, she's good
enjoyed
for the
that
role.
character in the movies.
Yeah.
Gotcha. So maybe it's just the actress I don't particularly care for. I don't know if I've seen her in anything else, though. I know she's been in loads of other stuff,
Yeah.
but not stuff that I typically would normally watch. Sorry, I keep looking at Robert because the microphone's this way, and I feel like I'm going to keep hitting the microphone if I'm looking over at you.
I will say, though, Jeff Bridges did look damn intimidating in that movie.
He did.
Yes.
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 Like, I liked how his voice got super growly and booming as he got in the robot suit. Like, that seems to be a common theme of superhero movies.
Is the villain mirroring the hero's powers?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It seems to happen a lot.
It's a video game thing too. It's something that happens whenever you fight like a clone of yourself or somebody whose powers are based on your character in the video game. I got to bring it back to this at some point. That's how you know it's going to be a fight that's usually worth watching. And I didn't feel like I got that from Iron Man or from Tony Stark, the Starkening, but the Starkening.
The ironing.
That'd be a very entertaining. No, it'd be a pretty boring movie. The ironing. Jarvis is awesome.
Yeah, we gotta mention that.
Jarvis is my favorite character in the Iron Man movies. I think just because it's the straight man who's obviously just at that point just an AI that's helping Tony Stark, who is Tony Stark. If you didn't know.
Fun fact, in the comic books up to that point, Jarvis was his actual human, like butler or whatever.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
He was his actual, he would help him out in his house and stuff, and they changed that for the movie. And then, like a lot of things, once the MCU started taking off, the comics started to reflect that. So now in the comics, Jarvis is, AI and all that, but yeah.
Interesting.
Little tidbit for you.
Obviously, I should have mentioned this earlier, but I think you guys are well aware. Spoilers for Iron Man through Infinity War.
Yes.
Whoa.
Yes.
We're going
Spoilers.
all the way.
Spoilers.
Careful
But
what you wish for.
if you're here watching or listening to us talk about them right now, you've seen the movies anyway and just wanting to
Hopefully.
hear some discussion and then add your voice to the discussion. I should mention also, hit us up on Twitter, Pushing Buttons P. We got an Instagram.
Yes, we do.
We have
Yeah,
Instagram.
that's news.
Pushing Buttons Podcast on Instagram.
Yeah.
It's socially
Acceptable.
mediac. I don't know. Anyway, is that
It's
all,
social media.
Is that all we want to talk about for the first Tony Stark, the Starkening, ironing?
Yeah.
I believe so.
Incredible Hulk.
Incredible.
Yeah, this one's going to be tough.
I don't I don't know what to say about this movie. Edward Norton and Liv Tyler. I have never. I liked The Italian Job. I think that was one movie with Edward Norton in it that I actually did like.
You know, like Fight Club?
I was going to say Fight Club's
Oh
good.
my god!
I was going to say, I'd be shocked
Okay,
if you
so I've
don't.
seen Fight Club one time.
Okay.
And I've never owned it, so I caught it on TV one time. So I don't remember much of it.
You can borrow it if you ever want
I need
to.
to rewatch it. Yeah, I think I do. Edward Norton's not one of my favorite actors by any stretch of the imagination, though. Liv Tyler is very bland, generic damsel in distress in every movie that I've seen her in. I think the only other one that I've seen her in besides, I was going to get Armageddon was the other one that I was
Yeah, I was
talking
going to
about.
say Liv Tyler just makes me want to close my eyes and
Fall asleep.
because I
That's
don't
fair.
miss her.
Yeah, she was definitely the weakest part of that movie for me. And
Besides the story.
and I've tried to give it a second chance. I think I've only watched it 2 times. I watched it when it came out,
Yeah.
and then I didn't watch it again until last year when I was going through all the MCU, and I can't enjoy that movie at all.
This is what bugged me about most of Phase 1, at least when the new, whenever they introduced a new character. It was like they're trying to throw a known Marvel character into a situation that would be in a normal 2008 through 2012 action movie. And that's why I say that it felt like they didn't have the whole MCU story, like the phases, planned ahead of time. Because these introductions weren't introductions into their story. It was them getting thrown, besides Iron Man, it was them getting thrown into a story. Just a generic love story or a generic action story.
Yeah.
It didn't feel like it meant anything. And Incredible Hulk, not a good movie.
Yeah, and the thing about it too is it was mostly created by Universal because they technically have the rights for the Hulk
I
as
forgot
solo
about
movies.
that. That's
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
And that's why Marvel hasn't made their own Hulk solo movie because they can't. They can include him in their movies, but they don't have the rights for, I think maybe it's distribution or production, but they can't do solo movies, which is why there hasn't been one since Incredible Hulk.
Oh.
And so
Don't
that's why it
need
didn't.
No, I don't like Mark Ruffalo either. So
I do.
no.
He's fantastic.
He is. I don't have any previous history with anything Incredible Hulk, but for me, he is Bruce Banner.
I
Mark
don't
Ruffalo is Bruce Banner.
I'm not a fan of him.
I love his ability with Tony Stark. with Robert Downey Jr., the way that their back and forth goes, they seem like legitimate characters that know each other throughout the movies and stuff. But their back and forth made me a fan of Mark Ruffalo.
Okay.
In my opinion. But Edward Norton should never act in a comic book movie again.
Yeah.
He's too serious of an actor.
Yeah.
Which I've always enjoyed. Ivan Jarvis. I've
Jesus, man.
This is a lot earlier than we normally record.
Yes,
We're still
And
waking
it's on
up
a Saturday.
here. Yes.
We normally record Friday after work. This is a Saturday morning. But
I was gonna say I've always enjoyed Edward Norton, myself, but I didn't feel like he was a good fit.
More like Edward Snorton, right?
in that movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or were
I was thinking
Snorton as in like snore or
Yeah.
snorting?
I was thinking
drugs.
snorting.
Oh no, I just meant
illicit
Snort. Okay.
snort.
I like
like
it.
snore,
Yes.
like
That
Yeah.
makes more sense.
Okay.
The big thing that I really didn't like about the movie was the villain, because I love Abomination from the comics, and they totally changed his look in the movie to where he just looked like
he looked like a great
a deformed,
Yeah.
weird Hulk, and he looks so much cooler in the comics. And
I don't even remember what he looked like in the movie.
I don't either. Just that he was
I don't
gray.
remember the movie.
he looks badass in the comics, and he looks like a pile of crap in the movie. But yeah, so it wasn't a good movie, and they were trying to set up that it was connected with, obviously the sting with Tony Stark coming in at the end and talking
Right.
to General Ross, which is the only character from that movie to appear in other MCU movies now.
Oh,
Because he was in, remember Civil War?
yes.
And then briefly in Infinity War. So it is still part of the MCU, but really, I mean,
Yeah,
it's
I think
not.
they just did it. Be like, oh, that one movie that
Yeah.
you guys all liked. They're tied together. See, there you go.
That was definitely them still, like I said, they were like, oh wow, Iron Man did. Well, they were released the same year, so it's not like they already had that seed planted, I guess. But
It was like throwing in a very popular character from Star Wars in the end of one of the. I guess they did it twice now at the end of the standalone Star Wars movies. It's just like, hey, these things are tied together, so here's a character that makes it. There's proof.
yeah,
But
very much.
I do want to talk about Star Wars at some point. I'm much
Next
more
up
into
is
that.
Thor, right?
No, it's Iron Man 2.
Iron Man 2 is next?
Iron Man 2.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't do any research. I'm doing this from memory.
I'm doing the same thing, and apparently my memory was false.
I think Thor is after that, though, isn't it?
Yes.
What was the plot of Iron Man 2? I get that one and Iron Man 3
Tony has
confused.
alcoholism. That's it. That's all I remember. And then Mickey Rourke was in it.
Yeah, he was coasting more on his now his image and his fame. He's getting a little cocky, and
Because he proclaimed to the world that he was Tony Stark.
more cocky. Believe it.
Because he proclaimed that he was Tony Stark to
Yeah.
the world.
Yeah. Exactly.
He was going with it for a second.
Yeah. Hey, to me, Tony Stark and Iron Man are synonymous.
Yeah, they're
so
one.
whatever. Anyways, so yeah, and Whiplash comes in, and he's like, that's when you start getting like all the backstory with Howard Stark, and you're like, oh, your father screwed me
That's
over,
right,
and
yeah.
all that. And that's the first appearance of Howard Stark. And Sam Rockwell was in it though, and I've
Oh, yeah,
always
I
loved
forgot
Sam
about that,
Rockwell.
yeah.
I don't
He was
know
kind of
who
like
that
the
is.
secondary. He played Justin Hammer. He was like Tony's business nemesis.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
he was like
yeah.
the other arms guy. And he was
Right,
trying to get
okay.
the government contract or
Gotcha.
whatever.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, I don't remember a whole lot of that movie. It felt weird if they were planning. I'm going to keep going back to this during Phase 1. If they were planning on making the MCU something bigger and better.
that's when it started.
Okay.
Was in that movie because
Okay, I was gonna say, it
Black
seemed
Widow
weird.
showed up in that movie.
It seemed weird to do another Iron Man movie so soon without
Yeah, it was really popular though.
maybe taking another character and doing a movie. Like doing Thor before Iron Man 2, I think would have been better.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah,
Too soon.
Nick Fury, and Black Widow both showed up in that
Yeah.
movie for the first time.
That was when Nick Fury started showing up
Well,
in every movie.
Yeah.
At that point, or
Nick
at least
Fury
in the
showed up at
post-credits.
the end credits of Iron Man and Incredible Hulk, didn't he?
I don't believe so.
I thought he did.
I can't remember.
Because he was recruiting S.H.I.E.L.D.
I thought that was Iron Man 2.
I thought
Pretty
it
sure
was
it's Iron
the
Man 2
first
because
one, and
Hulk, at the end of Hulk, Robert Downey Jr. showed up.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
The
you're
first
right.
one,
Yeah. I thought it
honestly,
was Nick Fury. And he was talking to Tony.
I honestly don't
This is
remember. You
not
could
good.
be right, but I don't believe so.
I don't remember.
But yeah, so it was. They're definitely like, okay, we're going to start building this universe now. It was a little more overt in that movie. That was a lot of criticism of it.
Yeah.
Is that people felt like they were trying to push that stuff into it instead of it being organic and natural.
Yeah.
I never looked into it that much, so it never bothered me. But it's definitely, I think, one of the lower rated MCU movies, but I've always enjoyed it.
At this point, MCU still hasn't grabbed me. I did watch this one after Infinity War came out, so I did know what it was leading to. But if I was watching it as they came out, like most people probably did, I still wouldn't be captured by it as a big overarching story.
Yeah.
I would say at this point in the movie universe, it was after Iron Man 2. I saw that in theaters, and I didn't see anything in theaters until Avengers.
Wow.
I just caught the other two movies on DVD. Yeah.
I've seen all of them in theaters now, if I'm thinking about it, except for Hulk. I did not see Hulk in theaters. I dodged that bullet.
Yeah, I don't think I saw Hulk in theaters either.
Yeah.
But Iron Man 1 and 2 I did.
Iron Man. Tony Stark. Tony Stark. Iron Man 2, another pretty generic action flick, in my opinion. It had a little bit more going on with the characters from the Marvel Universe than the past two. Like it fleshed out some of the villains a little bit more than the past two Marvel movies did before it.
And it did have Don Cheadle as Rhodey, which I enjoy him a whole lot more.
A lot better as War Machine. Yeah.
Yeah.
The Iron Patriot.
So now is Thor.
Thor.
Which is my wife's favorite. Not the first movie, but the whole trilogy is her favorite of the MCUs.
Okay, because Thor 3, when we get to talking about that one made everything glorious and magnificent.
Thor was just a boring movie.
It was a Thoring movie.
It was a very slight movie. Yeah,
Thor was a Thoring movie.
It's very slight. There's not a whole lot to it. You do get some mythology and all that, but
it was another one of those. Hey, let's take a comic book character and throw him in a real world situation where because in everyday life you fall out of the sky and meet Natalie Portman,
and you experience coffee shops and social media for the first time.
Right. The fish out of water stuff I really enjoy. Like any movie where there's that kind of element, I always find humor in it and I enjoy it.
I can, but when it's done like. I don't. It seemed like it was too slapdash for me to get behind the fish out of water.
It was kind of funny though. I liked him in the coffee shop. He's like, "I like it. Another smash."
The part that my wife loves the most is when he goes into the pet store.
Oh,
like, I need a horse.
That was great. Yeah.
We don't have horses. Like we have cats and dogs. Give me one of those large enough to ride. That's great.
Chris Hemsworth though, perfect for Thor. He's the perfect Thor.
He didn't. I don't think he did a good job in the first movie because they didn't know how to portray him.
I don't think it was. Yeah, it wasn't him.
It wasn't until Thor Ragnarok.
Definitely the direction and the writing.
Better.
Yeah, I do love the. Especially playing through God of War now, which is part of why I was so excited for it. It's all I love, Norse mythology and all the stuff like the Rainbow Bridge. That's all that stuff in the movies is great. Asgard and all that.
I've always loved Norse mythology, and that was a big thing that played into Stargate SG-1 and specifically Stargate Atlantis was the Norse mythology behind the Asgard. They made them as an alien race that were like advanced beings that were still around, but they were also around when the Stargates were built. So I want to talk about Stargate every episode of this podcast.
That sounds interesting to me. I almost want to watch it now.
It is so good, but that's what Stargate does so well, though. Going off on a tangent here, they take mythology and religion that we know and we know things about, and they make it work in a sci-fi realm. It's so good.
Nice.
And other than Stargate Universe, Stargate is like the best sci-fi property in my opinion because of
I've only ever seen the movie with James Spader.
Canceled.
Yeah,
it's in hiatus right now. Yeah. It's been too long. We need it back.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. Just look what's happening with Star Trek.
What's wrong with Star Trek?
Discovery is poop.
It's bad? I thought it was good.
A lot of people like it. I didn't.
Just word of mouth. I heard it was good.
I've seen 4, 5, 6 episodes, and I didn't like it.
Oh,
at all.
Okay.
I didn't like the characters. Didn't like the story. But that's not Marvel.
Oh. So, back to Thor.
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 I know Loki wasn't the main villain. It was like a.
That's true.
I can't remember the main villain of Thor.
It was.
It was like a robot, wasn't it?
It was the Destroyer.
The Destroyer
was his name.
That's very generic. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm trying to think who the villain was. There was the Frost Giants. They had a little part to play.
Yeah.
And then Loki was manipulating a little bit, but it was the introduction of Tom Hiddleston as Loki, which is by far one of the best parts of all the MCU, in my opinion.
Who? What?
Tom Hiddleston as Loki.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
100%.
And I think he was a big part of why that movie, was successful.
Yes.
And they gave it a sequel. It's because he was so magnetic in it. And even though he was playing the the douchey kind of slick guy, but everyone loves him. The ladies love him, So
They sure do.
And Anthony Hopkins is Odin.
Perfect.
It's amazing. I love Anthony Hopkins.
I love a lot of the people that they have playing like almost cameo style roles in the Marvel movies. I guess Kurt Russell wasn't much of a cameo in Guardians 2. He was a
pretty
big character,
pretty decent part, yeah.
But stuff like that when they just get these actors, Sylvester Stallone in Guardians of the Galaxy,
that was great.
yeah, stuff like that.
Yeah, like it's a very uneventful movie. Again,
it was.
But it did introduce Hawkeye also, and Phil Coulson. So.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
I didn't like Hawkeye at that point.
No,
it took
there wasn't much
Avengers
to like about
2.
him in that movie.
It wasn't until Avengers.
I think it's Avengers 2 that I actually started that's what this character is all about.
Yes. Yeah.
What was after that?
After that is Captain America, the first Avenger. You're on a roll.
That was a fun movie. That was the first Marvel movie that one of my buddies was like, I'm gonna watch this if you're gonna come over to my place. That's what we're doing. I'm like, it was at the time when every day after work I was going over to this guy's house and hang out and watch his kids play video games and watch movies and stuff. And I was like, all right, I loved it. It was the first MCU movie that just like, oh my god, this could be something.
Yeah, it being a period piece was it was a great change of pace. And speaking of great actors in smaller roles, Tommy Lee Jones as his CEO or captain or whatever.
Oh yeah,
I forget he was in it, right? Yeah. And he's another great older actor that we don't see that much anymore. But I love that he's in that movie. And Red Skull, Hugo Weaving,
that was awesome.
Future down the line. I love that he popped up in Infinity War.
Yeah,
that was cool.
And it wasn't Hugo Weaving playing him, but
still,
yeah.
That was the first movie that I was like, it's not just one of those typical that I've been talking about, those typical movies where they just take a comic book character and throw him into a real world situation. Yeah. This was his origin story. This was him becoming Captain America. Yeah. And then the end of it was how it led up to him in the modern day. And I thought it was well executed. It was superb. I don't use that word very often. It was great.
The emotional part in that movie between him and Peggy was really well done, and especially the ending when he's going down in the ship. And he just save that dance for me. And I love that
the heartstrings.
It really does, and that she's become kind of a through line throughout his movies, and popping up here and there, and even older Peggy, I think in Civil War.
Yeah.
And that was what they started. That was great. Is that planting those little seeds and just growing them throughout the years. Yeah, she was great in that. I've always wanted to watch Agent Carter, the show that she had, but I haven't got around to it. I heard it was really good.
I have to say, though, Chris Evans was perfect for Captain America.
100%.
John Krasinski, I believe, was the runner-up for that.
I'm glad he didn't get it.
Yeah. It seems like
he was really close. I can't imagine it at all. I mean, he's become an action star now, but...
I have not watched, is it...
Jack Ryan?
I was going to say John Ryan for a second, but his name is John. Jack Ryan. I have not watched that just because it's weird seeing him. Like, I expect it to be like...
Oh, you guys know what you should watch?
Right?
If you don't see him as an action hero, you should watch 12 Hours.
13 Hours.
13 Hours, pardon.
That
13 Hours.
A freaking amazing movie.
Yeah. Kevin, you should watch that. It's great.
13 Hours?
Yeah.
Is it on a streaming service that I can...
Amazon.
Okay.
I think.
I also own it if you want to borrow it.
It's a great movie.
Might get to it at some point.
It's great because you
see
see...
Too many Netflix shows I'm watching right now.
Jim and... I can't remember his name. The other guy in the office.
Which one?
The Pam's ex
Roy. Oh yeah.
Yeah, they kind of
forgot Roy's
they
in it.
bro up in the movie.
That's great.
Jim and
it's
Roy.
awesome as hell.
It's a
Like-
Michael Bay movie, so
Yeah.
there's lots of explosions, but it's
okay.
based on a true story of Benghazi. Remember when that happened in 2012? It's that story, so it's kind of like a war story, but it's really good. And
I'm trying not to judge it just based on Michael Bay.
I know,
because-
I knew it was a risk telling
It's
you
his
that.
best
but
movie, if it says anything.
that is true.
Okay.
But he does it respect. But yeah, he's like badass in that movie, and you're
Yeah,
like,
it's
whoa,
amazing.
Jim, you grew up.
It's a great movie. I highly recommend it.
Yes. But Captain America is also great.
It is
Captain
great,
America
yes.
was-
Yes.
It was the underdog story where the underdog became the alpha dog
Yeah.
and stayed the alpha dog
Yeah.
until Civil War, basically. And even then.
I will say, obviously, if you guys couldn't tell, Captain America is my favorite MCU character.
Well, it's time to
And-
show this off too then.
I'm wearing a Captain Bulgaria shirt. I'm wearing a Rusev Day shirt. This
But-
is the Bulgarian brute.
There you go.
Captain America out of nowhere.
But no,
flash
I've always loved just like he's the moral guy, you know.
Yeah.
He's the one that's always going to have the most level head.
He's the perfect foil to
The Boy
Iron
Scout.
Man later
Yeah,
on.
exactly.
That's,
And
why he's my favorite hero out of all of them, because I feel like I line up with him morality wise.
I feel like that's
makes
how you guys always play like an RPG is
Yeah.
as Captain America.
that is accurate for me. Yeah.
I would say so. Yeah.
It's hard. Well, except for when you're playing Red Dead and you're going around killing everybody.
Those are tangents. That's not how I actually play the game.
He's got to load the game after that. Yeah.
Speaking of which, I highlighted all of our old videos because they're about to be expired
Oh, nice.
on Twitch.
Nice.
Check them out. I just made highlights.
Slash pushing buttons.
Random plug.
Yeah.
That was a random plug.
You're welcome.
It was one of my favorite movies. It was my favorite movie of Phase 1 by far. Not my favorite character in
Wait,
Marvel.
that's not the end of Phase 1, is it?
No, we still have the Avengers. Right?
Oh,
Is that not? That's it?
Yeah.
Oh my god, I nailed Phase 1.
Good job.
I won't be able to do that anymore.
But my biggest memory of Captain America seeing in theaters, I was with all my friends, and the end credit scene
We weren't
was
there.
the first.
You didn't know us though. That's okay.
You guys were there in spirit. If that helps, I was thinking about you. It's like
I wish
future.
I saw Captain America. in
I told you I'm a
theaters.
time traveler. You've seen my painting,
That's true.
but
That's gonna be another Instagram photo.
it's
Yeah.
gonna have to be.
Yeah, it'll have to be.
But yeah, and the end credit scene was the very first tease for the Avengers, and it was like a collective nerdgasm in the theater. And that's the exact word we used because it was like, holy
What
crap!
happened? Because I don't remember.
It was just like the first like short little teaser for the Avengers. So it was quick. It was like a trailer.
Action, like
Yeah.
it was basically a trailer of just
Teaser
cut
trailer.
together scenes.
Just a bunch of shots
Oh,
of like,
okay.
and then you're like, holy crap! Thor's standing next to Iron Man, and you're like, we were freaking out. And I've never had until Infinity War. I don't think I've ever had an experience like that.
Oh man, yeah.
Between then, because it was so incredible back then. Like all these movies have been building up to this
Moment.
event, and
Quick
there's
aside,
one movie.
Do you guys remember when we started? This is
No.
no timer on the recorder.
No,
Okay.
Well, we got one more movie to talk about.
We do have one more movie to talk about.
Avengers!
And it was the
Avengers!
culmination of what they've been building up to so far.
And this was, I think, in 2012
yes, yes, it was. So short 4-year period.
for
six
Phase 1.
movies.
Mhm.
6 movies in 4 years. That's Marvel.
Which I mean, they've really ramped up now.
Oh my god, yeah.
Now
Phase
it's 3 movies a year.
Yeah.
But yeah, the Avengers was. It was a great experience. It was. I think you would have enjoyed it in a
In
theater.
theaters?
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't like being around people I don't know. Like in big crowds.
Well, I went with my dad to go see Avengers, and we had a good time.
really?
Yeah, I took him for his birthday because it came out around then.
Huh, interesting.
Yeah, and fantastic movie to spend with your dad.
And when I heard Joss Whedon Whedon
Yeah, that was
Was-
the best part. Was
yeah.
the writing.
writing and directing it, I was
Like,
like,
the
oh my
character
gosh, this is going to be
interactions.
fantastic.
You
Because
know?
up till then, I was a fan of Serenity and Firefly.
Yes.
Never watched Buffy
never
or
did
I think
Angel.
any of his other ones,
Yeah.
but I was like, this guy's good. This guy that did Serenity. So I'm like, this is going to be fantastic.
Absolutely.
And he knocked it out of the park.
He
Yeah.
did.
That first one.
So the only really part that really only stuck with me from that movie was how it affected Tony Stark as a character going forward. because he kept going back to the aliens.
Yeah.
How he kept going back.
And he almost died.
Yeah.
It was a big thing for him.
And it totally changed his character, made Iron Man 3 a totally different movie than Iron Man 2. And going forward, even beyond that, it turned him into somebody that is actually afraid of death and wants to do stuff for the people he loves, which is a total character change for him. And that's what I remember most about the first Avengers movie.
Exactly. Like I said, Iron Man 2, he's cocky. He's got that attitude, even more so than he did.
Drunk
and
on
then, completely.
Power and alcohol and money. And being Tony Stark. Sorry,
Exactly.
Iron Man.
So the one scene I'll always remember from that movie is Hulk grabbing Loki and just smashing him against the ground.
That was electric in the theater,
This was the introduction of Mark Ruffalo, wasn't it?
Yes.
Yes, it
Hulk?
was.
Okay.
Yes, it was his first movie as
As Bruce Banner.
as Bruce Banner and the actual MCU's real Hulk. So I don't consider Incredible Hulk the real Hulk.
Yeah, I don't
So-
know if Marvel does.
They shouldn't.
Yeah.
But yeah, and gosh, what else? There's just everyone coming together. The way he did the shots, like especially towards the battle in New York when he just spins around and the whole team's just standing there. It's straight out of a comic book.
It really was,
was cool.
and that's what Joss Whedon. That's why I think he was the perfect choice to do that movie.
Yeah.
Because he knows comics and he gets the comic book style of how it could be adapted to a cinematic.
And the interplay between the characters. It was the first movie we got basically a lot of them interacting together.
character
and-
quips.
Yeah.
It was great.
He's such a great writer.
I was trying to think of any line. I can't think of a single line from that movie, but I could.
We have a Hulk.
I'm guessing that was Tony Stark.
Yeah.
Okay.
Where, when him and Loki are in his penthouse and he's like, I have an army. It's like, we have a Hulk. And that's when he comes in and smashes.
Gotcha.
Yep.
Yeah.
I love the design of like the aliens in that movie too. Not the actual Chitauri, but they're that weird like whale flying creature that they ride.
Right,
Those
yeah.
things are cool. I love big creatures and stuff like that. So that was cool.
Avengers was a cool movie. I didn't see it once again until like way later. I didn't personally. It was exactly what I thought it was going to be. It wasn't anything more. It was like we have all these characters established now, and we're going to get them together in one movie and start the major plot points of what is going to happen going forward.
Yeah.
And it did it really well.
It was
And-
a good way to cap off phase one.
Yeah, brilliant way. And I think still to this day, it's probably my favorite end credit scene. It's the shawarma scene because it's so simple.
I don't remember it.
There's no dialogue at all. It's just in the line in the movie when Tony Stark is like, "We should go get shawarma after this." It's just like a throwaway line, and then the end credit scene is just them sitting around the table just eating, and that's it.
That's great.
And
You ever
it's
had shawarma?
no, I haven't.
There's a place here in town.
I've seen that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's. I don't know if it's authentic, but it's good.
I'm not even sure I know what shawarma actually is. So
What they sell, it's like meat and stuff wrapped in like a flatbread,
Oh, okay.
and it's like as a wrap. It's a wrap.
it's a wrap. Yeah, so that was great.
Yeah, that's phase one.
Yeah,
Phase one complete.
And then we're gonna roll right into phase two. Phase two is where the MCU started like kicking off, in my opinion. It was getting down from the
It got
high
bigger.
of Avengers. It was like, okay, there's gonna be more Avengers movies coming, but we got to get these other movies done. And is it Thor 2? Was that the first? Or is it Iron Man 3?
Iron Man 3.
Iron Man 3 was, yeah.
And it directly followed up Avengers with Tony Stark's story.
Right. And that was a totally different Iron Man. And was that the one with the Monaco? Or
The Mandarin.
the race?
No, that was 2.
That was 2?
Yeah,
Okay.
that's
Oh,
when
that was
Whiplash comes out on the track.
Yeah. So I was going to say during that one, why did they not have Metallica's Whiplash as a theme song in that movie? Unless it was just too expensive for them.
Probably so.
But Iron Man 3, that was the one with the Mandarin that a lot of people did not care for.
No, I
Which
hated it.
I loved.
No,
I thought it
that
was great
horrible.
that it subverted expectations
Yes,
the way that it did.
that's exactly why I loved it. And
I don't
if
know.
I had been a super fan of the Mandarin of the comics, maybe I would have been upset, but I wasn't.
I'm not a fan of Marvel comics. I've never read them before.
Yeah.
So I had no previous history with that character.
I just felt like it was a waste of time for the movie.
I thought it was the perfect misdirection.
Yeah.
I mean, it is a misdirection.
I thought it was well executed, in my opinion.
It was executed. Doesn't mean it was well.
I thought it was.
I thought it was really great. Critically, it was really well received too. But yeah, audiences were a little more slighted. I loved it. I love the opening. I love that it opens with "I Am Blue,"
as opposed to an AC/DC.
Yeah, and it's a flashback, and I love the opening.
Eiffel 65 is a better choice than AC/DC. I don't like either.
But the whole movie I loved, and it's directed by Shane Black and written by him, which his most recent movie, Predator, sucked. It really was not good. But Good Guys with Russell Crowe and Ryan Gosling, fantastic movie. I think Good Night and not Good Night and Good Luck. There's another one he did with Robert Downey Jr. and Val Kilmer back in the day. Kiss Kiss Bang Bang. It's really good. So he's known for writing these really dark comedies.
Yeah.
And you would really enjoy Good Guys. And so I was really excited when he got hired and to bring that kind of snappy writing and all that. And I thought he did a really great job. And it's probably my favorite Iron Man, honestly.
Really?
I think my biggest problem with it was, why is this guy just throwing away all of his suits? Why are all of his... There are too many suits. Too many suits. Too many suits.
He's trying to build a suit of armor around the world. Nice reference. Too many suits.
It was way, way, way over the top. I thought it was excessively over the top.
Mm-hmm. It did do a good job, I thought, of showing his headspace after.
Yeah.
He was in space.
Right.
And he saw all this stuff out there and then, falling back and almost dying. And so he's obviously traumatized by that. And I love that they actually showed that in a superhero movie, that he actually had trauma from that. It's not just on to the next job.
And I get why he had so many suits, because he was traumatized by it. He was just focusing on his work. That's all he was doing. He was neglecting everything else. He was just focusing on that. And it led to it being... It felt like an excessive movie. It really did. Just him talking to Jarvis and at that end when all the suits are flying around everywhere and he's just jumping out of one suit, gets punched and it falls apart and he falls down, lands into another suit. It's okay, it's cool once or twice, but 6 times, come on. It was
6 times is still cool.
It was way too much for me, but it was a cool movie.
So Kyle did not like it.
Not really, no. I saw it in theaters. I just went away thinking it was average.
Experience of a mediocre movie in theaters plays out as a bad movie. A mediocre movie in the comfort of your own home can be an enjoyable experience.
That makes sense.
I don't like the movie theater.
No, you don't. No, you don't.
Anything else on Iron Man 2? 3?
2.
The Starkening? 3 Starkening?
No.
What was the after credits scene for that one?
I don't remember.
I don't either.
Moving on.
Yeah. Thor 2.
Was it Dark World?
Nice. Yeah. Yes, the Dark World. Introduced to the Dark Elves.
I think this was a forgettable movie.
It was very forgettable. Yeah, I don't remember much of it.
They again tried to have Chris Hemsworth be too serious, and it didn't work out. Loki again was the best part of the movie.
Yeah, Loki's the best part.
He steals the damn movie from Chris Hemsworth until Ragnarok.
What's his character? He plays the character really well, but Loki in these movies is just the perfect comedic character.
Charismatic.
Charismatic.
It's not just me.
Charismatic.
Yeah, I don't remember much of this movie.
See, Loki is influencing me right now, trying to
he's got the Mind Stone on you.
Maybe you're Loki.
Did you guys get as tired
if I was so lucky
I did of Natalie Portman and that other lady?
I thought you liked Darcy. Yeah.
I liked... Okay.
I thought we talked about it one time and you said you liked her character.
Let me explain this, though. I liked her character. If they were going to have a character in the real world, I liked having her because she was like Earth's Loki to me. She was not evil or anything, but she was the character that kind of made light of every situation. It's okay, I don't need to take this movie seriously because this girl's making jokes. And I wasn't taking the movie seriously anyway because it wasn't a good movie.
I feel like her character was a better match for Thor than Natalie Portman's character.
In my opinion, the comedy helped, and I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah, Natalie Portman was pretty wasted in those movies because she's a great actress.
Oh, yeah.
V for Vendetta was amazing.
Yeah.
That was phenomenal.
She's had a lot of good movies.
I feel like
Black Swan.
I haven't seen that one.
I never saw
that was
it either.
great. You should really watch that. Yes.
And something Marvel's got a lot better about is creating better side characters and stuff like that. But these were still the relatively early days.
One of my favorite side characters right here. One of my favorite side characters in the entire
Mantis.
MCU.
And but yeah, so they were wasted. This plot was the villain again is one of those ones that's like it's hard to remember who the villain was, what he wanted, and which was the guy. One of the guys that played Doctor Who was the villain. I never watched the show, but I know that was people were excited for that at the time. Christopher Eccleston or something like that.
Yeah. He was the one that rebooted. He was the Doctor during the first initial season of the reboot of Doctor Who.
Yeah. Yeah.
See, the problem with the Thor movies, the first two, is that it should have been like this version right here. If Thor was like that from the beginning, I mean, I would have him like up there with Captain America as my favorite.
But he needed to lose everything before he could get to,
I know.
to that point.
But he's so cool now.
Yeah.
Because he's like, got an eye patch and everything.
He cut his hair.
And he's actual God of Thunder now.
Yeah, it's so cool.
But
Yeah, it was mostly forgettable.
mm-hmm.
I don't remember what was after that.
Oh, what's next?
Captain America 2?
Winter Soldier?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh my lord!
Good job.
I remember.
Good job.
I said it too.
You did.
Okay. Nice.
We got it together.
He said Captain America too, and then you said
I forgot the subtitle.
The Winter Soldier.
Yeah.
Very good.
That was a good movie.
It really was.
Winter Soldier is one of my favorite Marvel movies.
Yes.
I was wrong. I was mistaken earlier when I said that I saw Captain America at my buddy's house. It was Winter Soldier that I saw.
Oh.
And I had not seen the first Captain America movie at that point.
Oh.
And that's why I went back and watched the first Captain America movie and liked it as much as I did. Because this movie was so great and I had no context for the character at all.
Gotcha.
And it,
Yeah.
I'm still kind of enthralled in the character of Bucky.
Mm-hmm.
Winter Soldier.
Bucky's a great character.
I think that he's one of the most developed characters in the MCU because of all the stuff that he's gone through. And obviously he was meant as the perfect person for Captain America.
Tony Stark.
Captain America because gone through similar things, but much, much, much differently.
Yeah. The casting was great on him too. I love that it was the same guy who was in the first Avenger.
Yeah.
And they didn't try to recast and all
Right.
that. Robert Redford being in that movie was a big win for Marvel too.
That was cool.
Because he's a big, respected actor.
Yes.
And then it's like, oh wow, Robert Redford's in a Marvel movie?
Right. Maybe I should take this a little bit more seriously.
Yeah. And it was a serious movie, but it still had, the Marvel humor. But
Right.
it was definitely like a throwback political thriller.
On your left.
That's what
That was great.
like
That
it
was
was
the
a
perfect
spy
intro.
political thriller. It
Yeah.
was like a different genre almost.
It was
a
like
movie.
Tom Clancy presents
So
Marvel's
fun to
Captain
watch.
America.
And it had huge ramifications for the entire Marvel universe. Like I guess it affected more the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. show than it did the rest of the movies because S.H.I.E.L.D. just kind of dropped off after that.
Right.
There was no mention of it. Yeah. But on the show, I was watching Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. at that time, and that was a huge change of status quo for the show. Because all of a sudden the show was called Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and S.H.I.E.L.D. was
Wasn't a
all
thing anymore?
Hydra.
Yeah.
And it was crazy nuts that they crossed that. But
Is that show still on or is that canceled?
yeah.
It is?
Yeah, they just renewed it.
Oh,
I think
wow.
it's season 7 now.
Whoa,
Something like that.
7 seasons?
I think so.
Damn.
Didn't they cancel both Daredevil and Punisher after season 2 of Punisher came out? They just not renewed Punisher yet.
They haven't said anything about Punisher yet, but we're all
Gotcha.
expecting it because they canceled
Daredevil and
Luke Cage and Daredevil.
And I'm thinking Jessica Jones after season 3 will be.
Yeah, after her season, that'll be canceled.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They canceled Travelers.
I heard that.
Yeah.
I thought about you when I saw that. I haven't seen the show, but I know you
The way
liked it.
season 3 ended, it is a good endpoint. They led up to there being a possibility of more. I wish they would have kept that show going, but that's not Marvel. So
Yeah, true.
it was a
So-
marvelous show.
Now we're moving on to.
Wait, are we done talking about
You're done with Winter Soldier?
Oh, no.
Soldier?
the intro to Winter Soldier? I thought was this is the on your left thing. It was the perfect introduction for me as not seeing any of the Marvel movies prior to get who this character is and what he's all about. Just because he's just running, he's just working out. Just
Yeah. And he's got the list of things that he needs to check out. And Falcon.
Oh, yeah.
So
Falcon's
good.
Anthony Mackie is Falcon.
He's also one of my
Yeah.
favorite side characters. He and Ant-Man later on.
I love that. I love him and Bucky too in Civil War.
Yeah.
That great moments. But he's great in the job, in the role. Yeah, the end battle with or even the battle in the elevator. That's one of my favorite.
Oh, that was a great scene.
Favorite scenes in any of the movies is Captain America just taking out all the guys in the elevator.
The next movie is not Avengers 2 already, is it?
No.
What was before Avengers?
Guardians of the Galaxy.
Oh, duh.
Boom.
Duh. I knew
This thing.
that. Yeah. Guardians of the Galaxy is what got me hooked on the
This
Marvel.
is what got
I
me
think
back into the theaters.
Yeah, a lot of
for
people-
The main Marvel movies.
It's just they took a property that they were pretty much doing that hardcore comic fans liked, but nobody truly loved the Guardians of the Galaxy.
I had never heard of him before they announced the movie.
Yeah, a lot of
So-
people, especially me, people that didn't know anything about Marvel before these movies, didn't know of anything, and like, oh, I'm getting the guy from Parks and Rec to be the lead character.
That was the
But
big thing.
What?
That was
Yeah.
crazy.
Freaking mind fuck that he ended up being really good at the part.
And now he's like a
Jurassic
ubiquitous
World Hollywood.
action star. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was a huge thing for me because I was a big fan of Parks and Rec, and I was like, the chubby guy from Parks and Rec
Right,
is
yeah,
gonna
the
be. In
dumb
Mar-
guy
I was
is
like,
gonna be-
what? And then you see the first trailer, and he's got like the 6-pack and stuff. You're
Right.
like, what the heck?
Reminds me of Jeff Winger from Community. He's like, I've seen Parks and Rec. Those abs, those abs are CG or whatever.
Yeah.
He said,
Yeah, that's great. Dave Bautista as Drax.
Oh my god.
is a revelation.
Oh my god. He is so great. He's got the perfect comedic timing.
Yes,
Of any side character
I
or
mean,
any.
absolutely.
Was
Yeah.
Dave Bautista like a big name in movies before then?
I don't think so.
Did he
had
act at
acted.
all?
I think he had
Yeah.
acted in.
It's the
Something.
first thing I'd ever seen him in or paid
Yeah.
attention
Okay.
to him.
I know he had been an actor. I think for a little while after leaving WWE. But that took his career to a whole new height.
It did, yeah.
Since then, he's actually come back to WWE on a couple
Oh,
of
really?
different occasions,
Huh.
and they want him because he's a money draw.
Oh, yeah,
now.
now
He's a
he's
mainstream name.
Yeah, it's weird because I've never been a fan of when like wrestlers turn into actors. Because I'm always like, oh, it's so stupid. I don't want to look at these guys. But I mean, The Rock now is one of my favorites. Dave Bautista, and even I'd never liked John Cena until I started watching his
He's a
comedy
funny
stuff.
guy.
Like in Daddy's Home and Daddy's Home 2, even though they're not great movies, he's hilarious
He's
in
a
those.
very funny guy.
Yeah.
And I watch a lot less WWE than I have in the last few years, but whenever he comes back, it's always worth watching. His matches are not worth watching, but when they give him a microphone, he'll say whatever, and it's always gold anymore. The John Cena the last 2 years in WWE has been great, but he's not in a Marvel movie.
No.
Yet.
Yet.
He's in
He should be.
Transformers.
What if
He's
The
in a
Rock
movie.
and Dave Batista
John
and
Cena.
John Cena were all in a Marvel movie?
I think there'd be too much ego.
Let's cast him
Maybe.
right now. Who would John Cena be?
I don't know enough.
I was gonna say you don't know many characters,
I only
do
know
you?
those
So who
characters
could you
that have already been
choose?
casted.
I mean, I don't know.
You could be Thanos' brother.
I think he would have been Captain America.
I can kind of see John Cena as like an X-Men. Like,
That's a good point.
like Colossus or
Yeah.
Cable. I could see him as Cable.
Interesting.
Colossus would be great. For
I didn't
John
really think
Cena.
much of. Oh crap! What's his name again? I know this. John, who
For who?
for Cable in Deadpool?
Oh, Josh Brolin.
Josh Brolin. Thank you. I didn't really like him as Cable, but I feel like John Cena could have pulled it off if he
Could
had
be.
decent acting.
Could be.
skills.
Yeah, lots of good people in Guardians too. Like also Glenn Close, she was a big name. John C. Riley as one of the Nova
Oh,
Corp
yeah.
guys. That
Yeah.
was
Yeah.
I was going to say
fantastic.
CSEC.
They kind of look like CSEC.
They
Yeah,
kind of have the same role, too.
yeah.
I liked Lee Pace as the villain.
He was again one of those forgettable villains, but
I
he,
got him.
yeah. But I like him as an actor, and I love he was over the top, like he was purposefully over the top with it, and I liked it, especially the ending, the dance off. That was a fantastic way to end the movie. And not a giant, there was a giant like battle in skies, but you think, oh, it's gonna be this huge fight, and then it's just like starts dancing, and it was fantastic. And
of
I
course,
loved his reaction
We
to
can't
it.
forget about crap. What's his name? Man, I'm terrible with this. The blue skin guy.
The blue skin. Yondu.
Yondu.
Yeah,
thank you.
Yeah, he was great too.
Yeah.
Yes.
Especially
Fantastic
in Guardians
character.
too. Yeah,
Fantastic
the way it
character.
comes around.
He's a good actor, even though I don't know his name right now.
and introduce you to Nowhere, which would pop up in Infinity War again, and the Collector and all. I forgot. Did you know the Collector is Jeff Goldblum's brother from Ragnarok?
I didn't know that.
Interesting.
Little side fact. They are
That was Antonio Banderas. Right?
See, that's
No.
funny
No.
too.
Benicio del Toro.
That's right. Yeah, Benicio.
When,
I always
uh,
get those two mixed up.
When that guy came up in Ragnarok, I'm like, is that like the mannerisms and like the way the
Grandmaster, that was his name.
yeah, the way their makeup and stuff is on. I'm like, I almost thought they were the same character for a second.
They're I forget what their race or their group is called in the comics, but yeah, they are brothers.
Interesting.
Yeah, which is why they're kind of similar.
This was a movie that I didn't think I would like a talking raccoon or a talking tree in.
That's true.
But they were both
Forgot about
really,
them. Yeah.
really great characters. I love Rocket.
Mm-hmm.
He's
snarky, but he's emotional, man.
I love the snarky characters. That's why I think the chick from the first couple Thor movies actually stood out to me because of the snark.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Loki is one of my favorite characters in the MCU, and yeah, it's.
I love how much range Vin Diesel has got out of saying "I am Groot," and I love that
really
they bring him
talented to
around
be able
to
to do
like
that.
press things and stuff too, even though he's just saying one line.
Yeah.
Does he voice Baby Groot?
Yeah, I mean
Does he?
they change it obviously,
That's cool.
but yeah, he's
I didn't realize that was the same.
yeah.
Yeah, I didn't know it was until I saw it in the credits when I was waiting for the after credit scene.
Oh,
And it was
okay.
Vin Diesel.
Yeah.
Still.
I don't know about you guys, but I'm still waiting to see Howard the Duck make his first movie appearance.
Did you guys
Besides
ever,
the post credit,
Yeah.
Did you guys ever watch Howard the Duck?
No,
I
it
have
scared me
avoided
as a
it.
kid.
I don't want to watch it.
I don't
scared
know
me.
how and I don't know why, but my mom had it on VHS, and I watched it probably 1,300 times as a kid, and I don't remember it.
Wow. I remember
It was one of the movies that was like always on in my house because it was a movie that for some reason always captured me and my brother.
I know I've heard there's some pretty racy things in it for it being
Yeah.
like a PG movie or whatever.
I tried watching it again like maybe
That's why
5
you
or 6
watched
years
it
ago.
1,300 times, right?
I don't remember. I honestly don't remember it from being a kid. And then I watched it. I'm like, is this seriously the same movie? What?
It's amazing how that happens.
Uh-huh.
When you rewatch something, you're like, I watched that as a kid.
Right. Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah, I don't think I should have been able to watch that.
No.
But I'm not waiting for him to have a movie or a major role in any movie.
I think it'd be cool to see him in something like maybe Guardians 3. Not his own movie, but at least a small role because he was voiced by Seth Green. So I enjoy Seth Green. Joker from Mass Effect.
know
You know?
who Seth
And
Green is.
Robot Chicken. So
I like Seth Green too.
He was
but I mean,
Joker in Mass Effect.
that's
He already said
literally
that.
what I just said.
You did.
and
I'm emphasizing it.
it's not like I would have forgotten that because they actually modeled the character.
But he was
Like, he looks
Joker in
legit.
Mass Effect.
Oh my gosh, he wasn't he?
Yeah, so I think a small part for him would be cool, but not a whole movie.
Oh, I just kicked the table. Sorry about the noise.
Good thing the orb didn't drop.
Seth Green's
We'd all
one of
be
those
dead.
one of those actors that I like what he's in, but I don't watch a movie or a TV show because of him.
Right.
Like I don't go like watching a Family Guy episode. I can't wait till Chris says the line. I don't know. Joker was a great character and all, but it's not like I played Mass Effect to see what Joker was going to be up to next.
No.
I always did like checking in with him though, to see if he had anything new to say.
You do. I mean, that's kind of how you have to play that game. You have to talk to every crew member every time you do a mission. Got to gain their loyalty.
So do you know what's next? See if you can do it.
That's Avengers, the Civil War,
Age of Ultron.
Age of Ultron.
Nice
Civil
try.
War? Why does that Civil War? That's
I
Captain
don't know.
America.
Yeah.
Captain America Civil War. But yes,
Avengers 2.5 is what we call that.
I think that's why I thought it was an Avengers movie for
Probably,
a
yeah.
second there.
Yeah, Age of Ultron.
I love James Spader. He is
was perfect.
He is an actor that I will actually go out of my way and watch something that he's in. I watched Blacklist past tense.
There you go.
Because he was in it. I didn't know that show was still going on. I don't know how or why, but
He's great.
I loved him as Ultron. He was great.
Yeah, when I heard about that casting, I was like, that's perfect. And then I remember the very first teaser they released for it, and it had like the slowed down music from Pinocchio, and it was like so creepy, and it's just his voiceover. I was like, yes, this is going to be amazing. A lot of people don't care for that movie as much.
That wasn't as much of a critical.
Yeah,
or
for
a
me,
fan
it was
success.
kind of in the middle.
I love it though.
Like
thought it was really good.
It had good parts, but it wasn't overall like a great movie.
I love how it opens. The whole opening scene where it's just them. They're
in the
just
house, just like chilling.
oh yeah.
Not what you're talking about.
No, that's after the very opening one is when they storm the castle to get Baron.
Right.
And it's just you get the one shot of them, like the side shot of them.
Yeah.
It's so amazing.
Cinematic shot.
But you get the opening of the movie where it's them as a team, they're doing a job, and then you have that scene of them just relaxing.
Yeah.
It's like it's perfect. And I love the line where it's, Captain America keeps saying language. There's a great character.
I can relate to
inflection.
that.
Yeah.
I heard that from Kevin all the
That's
time.
definitely a Joss Whedon.
That's because
Our
I used
first
to edit
episodes
this.
of the podcast.
I used to edit this podcast, and now I don't give a shit anymore. But
Yeah.
I like the scene where Thor drops his hammer and
everybody's
That-
trying to
everybody's trying
Like
to
I
get
said,
it.
that whole scene is gold. Like the
Yeah.
character
And,
interactions.
it reminded me of like
when
a-
Captain America nudges it just a little,
yeah,
and he's
that
like,
was great.
the relief on Thor's face.
It reminded me of like a bunch of high school kids 21-year-olds, fresh 21-year-olds that are drinking alcohol for the
There
first
you
time
go.
in their life. Sitting around and just like kicking back and just chilling with their buddies, not knowing, if they would have showed that. How did I want to phrase this? What you said, I think, actually encapsulated it perfectly because they were on the job and had that badass explosions everywhere mission.
Yeah.
And were we gonna
Yeah, the
forget that Captain America just said
juxtaposition.
language? It's the juxtaposition between
You
the two
see them at
scenes
their
to me.
best, and then you see them when they're just
Yeah, like they're
every
what
day.
do they do when they're not saving
Right,
the
yeah.
world? Yeah.
Yeah.
I love those little moments. The thing that started in that movie that I haven't super cared for the rest of the MCU is Black Widow's and Natasha's and Bruce's romance.
Oh,
I've never
it never goes anywhere.
I've never cared for it too much.
It's just a waste of time.
yeah.
Her having like the way to calm him down though, I thought was pretty.
I think that's why
Cool.
they kind of made it a
Yeah.
romance thing because
Yeah.
I don't think it would mean as much to Hulk
Yeah.
if they weren't kind of romantically interested in each other.
Mhm.
But I didn't really care for it either.
Yeah. The more I think about this movie, the more I know there is to talk about. This movie in particular, I love it so much.
Iron Man and Hulk working together and accidentally creating Ultron.
Yeah.
that was really cool. Like seeing the Hulk, who's a juxtaposition in and of himself. He's this big, brawny superhero, but he's like one of the smartest dudes ever. And him and Tony Stark, who's also Tony Stark, if you didn't know, working together and to create something for the benefit of what they thought was going to be the benefit of the team and for the benefit of everybody, ended up being
yeah.
Ultron.
Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver being introduced.
Yes.
I'm sad that they killed Quicksilver off. I would have liked to have seen him in
Yeah, it was
more
a shame
movies.
to see that happen.
Which I'm wondering is if Endgame, what if it like changes some things like with the universe?
Right.
They
Oh,
got the
that'd be
time
cool.
stone now.
Yeah.
So what if they go back in time? Like what if characters that were dead come
They are
back?
going back in time.
That'd be kind of cool.
Yeah. Well, I don't know how much you guys read about, like set leaks and all that. So,
I try
No.
not to.
So-
I try not to, but I do know that.
I'm
they're
not that
going
much
back
of a
in time.
diehard.
but so yeah, like what if like all the original Avengers sacrifice themselves? What if people that were dead come back? I'd love to see him back. I like Aaron Taylor Johnson. I think he's a good actor, and I know it was right when that was released. I think it was X-Men: Days of Future Past came out, and they had their own
Good
version
movie.
of Quicksilver. It really was.
I really enjoy.
And their Quicksilver was fantastic
Yes.
also.
Uh-huh.
So I can understand why they were like, all right, it's one and done. We don't want to seem like we're copying. But
Yeah.
I hope they bring him back eventually.
I still don't know what to make of Scarlet Witch as a character, whether or not I like her. I still don't know. I really don't. And it's not just the way she was written as kind of a villain and then kind of a hero later on. It's like the character herself. Like what does it's like Heroes Hondo when he had the red lightning. It's like, what is that? Why? What is your power?
Well, Scarlet Witch is like a huge plot point, like as a character, because she's like the center of a lot of big events in the Marvel universe.
Is she?
Well, yeah.
Okay.
I don't know off the top of my head.
Oh, okay. I thought you knew something that you were gonna enlighten me with.
Well, there was like a whole Marvel event that was centered around her. I can't remember it now.
Oh, you're talking comics?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, she's big in the comics, but she's
Big in the
also,
comics.
they're X-Men in the comics. So in the comics, no relation to the movies, but she's the one responsible for killing, I think, like 95% of the mutants in the world.
Oh.
Because she's a witch, you know.
Yeah.
She has powers, and so she like says like, you know, no more mutants, and just instantly, almost like the snap,
Like Thanos snap.
like 95% of the mutants in the world died. It was a big event in the comics, but
Gotcha.
I don't think they'll ever get to that point. I think by the time they start integrating X-Men into the MCU, it'll look completely different. So
I can't wait for that, by the way.
I'm excited for that.
X-Men was one of my
Possibilities.
favorite. X-Men were my favorite superheroes
Yeah.
as a kid.
Yep. I
loved
think that goes
the
to say for a
cartoon.
lot of
Yes.
kids of our generation.
Spider-Man and X-Men were the comics that I would always
Yeah.
read. I like before the movies. I never read Captain America
Nope.
or Iron Man, all that. Okay, and Hulk.
Iron Man.
Spider-Man, Hulk, and X-Men.
Spider-Man.
X-Men, Spider-Man, and Hulk were the ones I would read. I would
Hulkman.
check out from the library all the time. Yeah, Hawkeye, his wife and family.
Yeah,
get to meet.
his life
Yeah,
after he
he's-
was done with superheroing.
That's a big thing that people didn't like about the movie too. Is they thought the trip to his family was stupid, and I enjoyed it a lot.
No, it opened up his character, made his
Yeah.
character worth actually being in the movie, like made him worth almost caring about.
Yeah.
I say
It
almost
gave him
because
so
I
much
still
needed
didn't, but
characterization.
yeah, it was the
Because
backstory.
he was just kind of like the silent protagonist that just was always there to show up in the nick of time.
It was the backstory that
Yeah.
that I think he needed.
Yeah. Then Andy Serkis.
Oh, I thought we were going to the next movie.
Oh no, I was gonna say Andy Serkis says the whole scene in Africa, or the whole part of the movie, Ulysses Claw. They got the vibranium and
Oh, right.
like the Hulkbuster suit and all that. You get that whole scene in Africa. I love that part, and I love Andy Serkis in like anything he's in.
Yeah,
And I
he's
thought he did
gold.
really great as Claw, and then in Black Panther as well. I'm sad he died.
Rip.
I think it's just Ant-Man, and then Phase 2's done.
I believe so, yes.
Yeah,
I think you're correct, sir.
Ant-Man. I
love Ant-Man.
didn't see it until I went through and
Love
watched
it.
until Robert let me borrow all the Marvel movies. I didn't
Yeah, this one.
Ant-Man's in there.
Yeah.
I didn't expect to like that movie. I didn't. I like Paul Rudd. He's funny, but I didn't think that he was like lead actor of a Marvel movie.
I thought he carried the movie well.
I did too. I was
Absolutely.
surprised by it. Not really a whole lot to say. I didn't care for the movie that much. I didn't think it was that good.
I honestly loved it because I love the effect of the quantum realm and like all the shrinking and getting huge again effects. Like as a visual effects
It works.
movie, it was great. I loved the variety in what they showed.
I didn't think there was Michael Douglas.
Yeah.
That's what I'm
fantastic.
talking
Another
about.
great
They made
actor.
him look young again.
I love Michael Douglas.
It was incredible. That was the first movie that did that.
Yeah.
It was insanely awesome.
Yeah.
Like, I was like, holy crap, just remake every Michael Douglas movie with Michael Douglas looking young.
Oh, what was that? Wasn't there a movie that he was in with Eva Longoria where they were like FBI agents or something?
Sounds like a terrible movie.
I don't remember this movie.
Sounds like an early 2000 movie. I have
Yeah,
no idea.
It was. Anyway, Ant-Man.
Michael Douglas was great in that movie.
He really was. I love Michael Douglas. I was going to say, going back to Paul Rudd, when he was announced too, I was like, I love Paul Rudd. I love him in anything he's in, but I was like, yeah, like a superhero? Like
Yeah.
he's too funny and he's too whatever. And then the same thing like with Chris Pratt. All of a
Yeah.
sudden you see he's bulked up
Yep.
and he's like doing his like serious stuff. I'm like, holy crap.
Yeah.
Which I know I've talked about this to you, Kyle, before, but Mute on Netflix. Remember when that came out?
Yes.
Not a great movie, but Paul Rudd is fantastic in it, and he plays a really serious, dark role.
Whoa.
And it's like a Paul Rudd I've never seen before, and he's fantastic in it.
Cool.
You should watch it at least fast forward to his parts if you don't watch
I got
the whole
a lot
movie.
of movies
But
to catch up on, but
yeah, he goes dark in that movie, and it's great. He's a great actor.
Didn't we just say and all agree that the best character in that is the buddy of his that whenever
Lewis?
whenever he's explaining a story, he talks really fast. I love his delivery whenever he's telling a story.
Yeah.
It's fantastic.
I love Michael Pena.
Oh my god.
it was nice to see him in a comedic role rather than being in like a serious dramatic role.
Right.
Because he's kind of like I liked him in Shooter. That was a fun movie.
I
Oh
barely
man,
remember
I
that movie.
saw that in theaters.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah, he was great in that. But other than that, his movies are kind of hit or miss. But I think he was great in
Narcos
this.
season 4.
Oh, yeah, he's
really
in that
good
too.
yeah.
Huh?
a super serious role. But yeah, he's got great range. But I love him. I love the whole crew, like T.I. and then the other guy, like the Russian guy.
Oh yeah.
Like, I love him. I love him. But yeah, the final battle of the movie, I love that. It's so small because obviously it's,
so small
Ant-Man,
scale,
and it's the
huge
train
battle.
set in his daughter's room.
It's a huge battle on such a small
Yeah.
scale.
It was great for me because I actually loved Thomas the Tank Engine.
I did too.
Because in England, that was like all the rage back then. That's where I was born, by the way. And just seeing that in such a small scale, but being so huge at the same time, it was really thrilling.
Yeah.
It was great.
And just seeing like the train just kind of topple over, and from a big perspective, it was just so funny.
And Evangeline Lilly too.
Oh, she was awesome.
Like
I was surprised.
Yeah.
On Lost, she always kind of annoyed me.
I never watched
Yes,
Lost.
I agree.
And
yes.
yeah, she was always. A lot of people on that show got annoying after a while.
Yeah.
And then in The Hobbit, she was.
I mean, she was
But-
badass in it, but yeah, she was just.
But yeah, in Ant-Man, I enjoyed her a lot. I didn't like the haircut. It was just
I
weird.
disagree.
I mean, it was comic book accurate, but yeah,
liked it a lot.
she really came into it in the second one. But yeah, I enjoyed her a lot in that movie. And the villain, I like the villain guy.
What's his
He's a
name?
good actor.
Because I only know him from
Corey
House of Cards.
Corey Stoll.
Yeah.
Stoll.
He was the like he was like in the first season a lot.
Yeah.
So as of this point, end of phase 2.
Yes.
How many Infinity Stones are in play?
We
Oh,
had
boy.
the Space Stone with Loki,
We got the
Power Stone with the Guardians.
Power Stone with the Guardians. We got the Reality Stone with Thor. It's Thor 2.
That's right. Yeah.
So it's in. They gave that to the Collector though. So that's 3.
Yep. And then we hadn't seen the Soul Stone, the Time Stone, and then the Mind Stone yet. Right? Or was the Mind Stone?
No,
Ultron?
because the Space Stone was a Tesseract, and the Mind Stone was Loki's staff.
Okay.
So that's 4 of them. And then Time Stone is Doctor Strange. Soul Stone doesn't come in until Infinity War.
Yep.
So there's 4 of them. 4 out of 6
Okay.
in play.
Okay. What was the first movie, phase 3?
Civil War.
Okay. Damn it. There were a lot of movies in phase 3, and phase 3 is still going on.
So
Yeah,
now we're
Phase
in
3 is definitely the biggest.
2016, right?
I believe you're right.
Yeah.
Yes.
2016 was Infinity or Civil War.
Yeah. Introduction of Black Panther and Spider-Man.
Great character.
Yeah.
It was probably one of my favorite Marvel movies.
Yes. Avengers 2.5, basically.
Yeah.
I think it was.
Damn near everybody was in it.
Yeah.
I mean, I enjoyed Avengers and Guardians. Like I saw them in theaters, but Civil War was like the first one where I was like really back into the whole craze of having to see every movie.
It was
in
the
theater.
story behind it because it was Captain America sticking up for his best buddy who has done some really bad things against his will that he didn't know he was doing against the people that he's been working with for the last umpteen movies.
Yeah.
It's
It's a very small story, but also very big at the same time because you're still dealing with the ramifications of Ultron.
right.
Is why the Accords are coming about in the first place because what else could they do? But they dropped a friggin' giant piece of land, you know,
Right.
people die. But
Yeah.
and again, General Ross coming back from Incredible Hulk. So I do like William Hurt as Ross. He plays a good douche.
I forgot to mention one of the other recurring side characters, Happy.
Yeah.
He's not
Happy's
that
good.
important of a side character, but I always like seeing him, especially in the Spider-Man movie.
Yeah.
Spider-Man Homecoming, he's great.
Yeah.
But Civil War, that's what we were talking about. It was really a stick with your friends.
Yeah, it was a moral issue that
Yeah.
split everybody into
Yeah.
two groups,
And
which was great to see.
It was a shades of gray kind of thing, as
Yes.
opposed to a good and evil.
There's like a dilemma, and you're
Yep.
either against it, the signing of the the Accords,
The Sokovia Accords.
Sokovia Accords, yeah, and they required like people to register their names as superheroes. And I understand
Enhanced.
where Tony
Is
was
that what they were called?
I
going
think
from,
so. Enhanced individuals, something like that. Yeah.
but I was with Captain America all the way. I was
Oh
like,
yeah.
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 freedom.
Yeah. Yeah, I was like, screw Iron Man in that movie.
Yeah.
Right,
I mean, he had
No.
Spider-Man though, so I was like, but. And then Baron Zemo, well, they just called him Zemo in the movie, but the guy, his family died in Sokovia, and he's the one that was pitting them all against each other.
Oh, okay.
Remember?
Okay. Yeah.
And he led them to the final like confrontation at the end between Iron Man and Captain America. And I thought that was a really smart, because in the comics he's just a standard bad guy. He's got a mask and everything, but they made him
Like
Just an everyday guy.
yeah, they humanized him for the movie, and he
Yeah.
actually has a reason for what he's doing, and bringing up again like Winter Soldier, his like what he did to Tony's parents and all that, and that was like mind blowing. And then you're like, oh my gosh, and then what's Tony's gonna do? And yeah, that airport scene though.
Yeah. That big battle.
Yeah.
Seeing Ant-Man grow.
Become
into a
giant man.
Do we have anybody if we have anybody that can do has any secret powers
Yeah.
or whatever?
And seeing Spider-Man in all his glory again.
A great
Oh my
introduction for him into
Yeah.
the MCU. It was
Black Panther, too.
perfect.
Yeah.
That was great.
I love that they introduced those characters before having their own standalone movie.
Yeah. So when you get
They
to their
mixed it
movies,
up.
it could just be their movie and not have to go through an origin.
And I watched Spider-Man Homecoming before I started my Marvelous Adventures. So I saw Homecoming before watching Civil War. So I didn't know that this had happened before. And it kind of gave some backstory to that for me. But even without watching Civil War, Homecoming was fantastic.
Yeah, that's a great movie.
But yeah, I love Spider-Man. I love Black Panther as characters in this movie. They were fantastic. Ant-Man actually had a lot bigger role than I thought he was going
yeah.
to.
Yes, he did.
Yeah. Yes.
Yes.
Yes, he did.
Yeah, and this is where
Talk
the
about Michael Pena there.
yes. Where the Bucky and Falcon parts really come into play when they're in the car.
Yeah.
That's some gold stuff.
Yeah. That was a fun movie, and it was also a dark movie, which is weird to have
Man.
that much fun in that dark of a movie.
That final fight between Iron Man and Captain America was
That was
awesome.
emotional.
That was a great fight.
Yeah, it went on a lot longer than I thought that it needed.
That was
to.
incredible.
But-
that was like the culmination of so many like little interactions,
Yeah.
like, disagreements here
Right,
and there where they
right.
bicker.
Yeah.
And it's something that wouldn't
You
have
know,
worked
and, like,
without
language.
the previous movies.
Right.
Yeah.
Like it was really cool to see that come to a boiling point.
Yeah.
I was
love
rooting
that
for
movie
Cap
so
all the
much.
way. I was like, kick his ass, Cap. Get him.
Yeah.
What was next?
What is next?
It was Spider-Man
Yes.
Homecoming.
No.
What?
Doctor Strange.
Oh, it was Doctor Strange.
Doctor Strange.
I did not know what to think of this the first time I watched it because it was also out of context of the MCU for me, and I had no prior knowledge at all of Doctor Strange. No idea who he was, who his character was, what he did, what it was about, the lore behind it, and I get Benedict Cumberbatch is a good actor, but I never got why everybody was so obsessed with him. I think most of it's because of his name. It's fun to say.
Yeah.
It
But-
was the second Star Trek movie. Was that called Into Darkness?
Yeah.
That's what kicked it off. Like he buffed up for that role, and people were like, "Oh my god, this guy can act and look good doing it at the same time." And it,
I mean, he did
it
look pretty
really-
different than his Sherlock days, I guess.
Yeah,
So, yeah.
like he was a pencil pasty guy.
See, for me, it's
Back-
his
but
role
it
as
was-
Sherlock that
It was Khan.
that did it for me.
Yeah, like when he buffed up for that role, people were like taking notice.
Gosh, what was I going to say?
Sorry.
I was
For
going to
one
say
thing,
something. I totally forgot.
I really liked
Yeah.
this movie because of the visual effects. Like
That's
with
what I was
the
gonna say.
the glyphs.
It was weird.
You should have seen it in IMAX. I mean,
Oh,
and
man.
Seeing that
gone on
movie
a
in
day when
theaters
there
was
was no
cool.
one else seeing it, like go at like 9 a.m. or something.
Yeah.
But seeing it in
man,
IMAX
that
was
would've been
fantastic.
incredible, yeah.
It was a visually awesome, like stunning movie.
Especially the end fight with Dormammu. Well, not really a fight, but when he's bargaining with Dormammu, and those visuals were straight out of the 1960s comic book, and it was amazing to see that on screen.
So I'll be honest, I still didn't care for the character of Doctor Strange after watching this movie, even in context of
Well, yeah,
the MCU.
he was a dick.
No, like I didn't care. Like I didn't think it was
Oh.
a good movie.
Oh, okay.
I thought that it was too much like Iron Man. I thought that it was exactly the same beats as Iron Man. He's this rich guy who has everything. All of a sudden, something happens and he's not able to do what he's.
Definitely similar.
Yeah, it felt like his his fall and then his rise were pretty much the exact same beats as Iron Man, and I felt like I'd seen the movie before. Yeah. That being said, I really do enjoy the lore behind where all the powers come from and all of the different enclaves or whatever they're called. Is that what they're? They're not called enclaves, but
right, the different sanctuaries.
Yeah, and how they're all linked together, and they have all these magic items that they're like relics or whatever that they're storing there in the library and the library, not in the library.
Yeah, the Cape was my favorite supporting actor.
That's a great character.
Yeah,
honestly, yeah.
Yeah.
But once again, go back to Natalie Portman in Thor. That's kind of how I thought of this lady being
Rachel McAdams.
Yeah, I like Rachel McAdams. She's one of my favorite actresses. Or she was about 10 years ago.
Yeah. Have you ever seen Red Eye?
No, I've not.
It was a thriller with her and Cillian Murphy. It takes place on a plane the whole time. It's a good thriller. That was mid-2000s, I think.
Gotcha.
She was good.
Rachel McAdams was my celebrity crush for a long time, a very long time.
Ditto.
It was her, but I didn't really care for the character. I thought at the beginning when he was going through all of his struggles and saying, I got to fix my hands because I'm a surgeon, and she was like, she kept trying to help him out and then reached her boiling point and left. I understand it. Yeah, that's cool. Yeah. Not a bad character, but kind of not as well fleshed out at that point, in my opinion.
The rest of the supporting cast was really good.
The monk dude, the librarian,
fantastic. Benedict Wong as a
Tilda Swinton and what's his name? Chian
Wong.
That's Chiandel. You know the
Chiwetel.
What?
Chiwetel.
How do you say it?
Chiwetel.
Chiwetel?
Yeah.
Whoa. And what's his last name? Ewander?
It's
Chiwetel?
Ejiofor or something like that.
I saw him in 12 Years a Slave, and he was really good in that movie.
He was in Serenity. He was the guy that's hunting him down, remember? Yeah. But him being the like his buddy the whole movie and helping him, like guiding him, and then at the end, Baron Mordo, that's his name in the movie.
Oh, okay.
Because he is a villain in the comics. So really? Having him, be, by the end of the movie, be disillusioned by what the Ancient One did and all that, and the secrets she was hiding, and so now he's transforming into, not just a straight up villain, but he's got a purpose behind it. A reason for him wanting to go against them now, which I think when they make Doctor Strange 2, they'll make him a better villain.
Coming out?
From what I hear, they're writing it right now.
Oh man, that'd be great to see.
Everything besides what's coming out this year has not really been announced yet, so
I'm looking forward to seeing what's coming up. But I love Doctor Strange. That was a great movie.
Too. Importantly, this was the introduction of the fifth Infinity Stone, then, right?
The Time Stone.
Yes, Time Stone. Yes.
I liked how he used it against Dormammu.
Yeah,
Dormammu,
I've come to bargain.
I've come to bargain.
That was great.
That was a great montage.
That was fantastic.
Yeah.
And Mads Mikkelsen was a good villain. I mean, he didn't really do much, but that's all he needed to do was just the brooding.
And the end fight and them rewinding time, and so you see the city instead of it being destroyed, it's undestroyed. And that was a great visual element. That
incredible
really
in that movie.
Yeah,
I'm glad that they made all that Avengers money so that they could put that kind of money into the special effects in this movie because it really worked out.
Mm-hmm.
It was visually stunning to watch.
It really was, yeah.
And all the flippies and the
the flippies.
Yes,
yeah,
the flippies.
Yeah, I remember when the trailer came out. It's like, oh, it's Inception too, because of the city turning inside out and all that. And,
What's next?
Now is it Spider-Man: Homecoming or is it Black Panther?
No. Guardians of the Galaxy 2.
Oh God, I keep forgetting about the Guardians movies.
Guardians 2 wasn't good.
What?
No, I didn't like it.
I loved it.
I loved it. I think it's a great movie, but a lot of people did think it was inferior.
Man, it was such a good movie.
The best parts were with Yondu.
Yondu was fantastic in this movie. Kurt Russell's character, I forgot.
I did not like
God,
Ego.
I guess. I don't remember his name.
I mean, Kurt Russell's great in any movie, but I didn't care for the character.
And Baby Groot was fantastic. Rocket and Baby Groot together. Drax was incredible, especially with Mantis. Gamora and...
it had good bits.
Blue Lady.
I
can't remember.
Nebula.
Gamora and Nebula together. It was the story of the movie itself wasn't that great.
That's what
it was
I take issue
backstory
with.
for. It was backstory for Chris Pratt for Star-Lord.
Yeah.
Like the characterization interactions were like those were entertaining,
That was the entire movie to me.
but Ego and Star-Lord scenes were just like,
The entire movie was all the side characters being fleshed out,
Yeah.
and the interactions with them, and
when looked at it that way, it's a better movie.
that's how I watched it. And I've seen it like 3 times now, and I've enjoyed it all 3 times.
See, talking about all these movies is making me want to binge all of them again. I'm like, dang, I want to see that again.
Well, you still have another
This
day
is
and a
making me
half
want to
until-
rewatch
Yeah.
Phase 1 and 2.
Yeah.
I don't
Because
know
it's
if I'd ever
been
watch
I haven't
Phase 1 and 2
seen
again.
any of those movies since I first watched them years ago.
Yeah, I loved it again for all the same reasons. The characters were great. The most emotional part was the part between Star-Lord and Yondu,
Yeah.
finding out that he's actually he may have been your father, but or he wasn't your
daddy
pop,
or
yeah, or
whatever.
pop, or something like that. I'm Mary Poppins, y'all. That was fantastic.
That was really good. Yeah. Is he cool?
Yeah, hell yeah. But I never expected that to be such an emotional, part, especially
Right,
with his
yeah.
character from the first movie. And then you're like, oh my
Yeah.
gosh, it's like he's a fantastic character.
And it makes you think back to the first Guardians of the Galaxy and the interactions between them, and like even Yondu's story as a scavenger, whatever they're called.
I think they're the Ravagers.
Ravagers.
Okay, I get scavenger, Ravager, Reaver,
Yeah.
Reaper. Yeah, another word for the same thing, more or less. It fleshes out his backstory,
Yeah.
even knowing what he did for. I keep forgetting Star-Lord's name, like the characters.
Yeah,
Human
Peter
name.
Quill.
Okay, what he did for Peter as a kid.
Yeah.
Yeah, it made Guardians 1 even better than it was, in my opinion.
That's true.
And then Taserface also. All the old crew and them hunting them down
man,
there was
that
some
was
gold in those
fantastic.
moments. And it all makes me so sad that James Gunn got
Yeah,
kicked off
I
it
know.
and
That's
now it's on
such
hold.
a dumb move. By
But
Disney.
hey, I mean, he's doing Suicide Squad for DC now, so
That might end up being
That's-
good now.
I'm excited for
Yeah.
that. Especially now, I guess it's going to be like a soft reboot. It's going to be new characters and
Well, now with
recast.
Aquaman, DC movies aren't all bad.
Yeah. Well, that started with Wonder Woman.
Oh yeah, I never.
Wonder
watched
Woman
that.
was
I still
fantastic.
watched that.
Justice
It was okay.
League.
It was
Justice
good,
League
but it
wasn't
was-
great, but I enjoyed it.
Aquaman was great.
Aquaman was flipping
Yeah,
fantastic.
You didn't see that good.
I know.
It was good.
I've been avoiding everything DC.
Wait, this is DC stuff. We can't talk about DC on the Marvel episode. All these guys would kill us.
I'm just saying they're lucky because they got James Gunn. But yeah, and then Ego, Kurt Russell is great. The whole like him being the living planet, which if you're a comic book fan, you already knew. I'm sure it was a surprise to you guys,
Yeah.
but yeah, that was cool to see that come to fruition at the end, and then like him coming out of like different parts of the planet and stuff. That was cool.
Watching Peter have those powers,
Yeah.
and then willfully give it away
Yeah,
in order to do what's right, I think made his character like into something that was
A true hero.
Avengers ready.
Oh, I see.
It made his character fit in better with the Avengers storyline,
Yeah.
in my opinion.
until Infinity War.
All right,
We all
I'm
know
not
who
gonna
the true villain was in that movie.
I'm not gonna guess what movie was next. I'm not gonna.
You're not going to guess?
I'm done with that. I don't know.
After Guardians 2,
I feel
it was
like you
Thor
were-
Ragnarok.
No.
No, Spider-Man.
It was
Damn it.
Spider-Man Homecoming, yeah.
Oh,
See, I didn't guess. I knew. I didn't know.
Touche.
Spider-Man: Homecoming was. This is what spurred me to watch all the Marvel movies
Yeah.
because of how
What
much
a
I love
fantastic movie.
They casted Peter Parker perfectly. I have
agree.
never liked a Spider-Man character as much as I like this high school version of Peter Parker. And the only other high school version of Peter Parker I think was in the 90s cartoon from what I've watched at least. I didn't read any of the comics and I've never seen anything else of him.
Well,
in that day.
the very first Spider-Man with Tobey Maguire and the first one with Andrew Garfield, they started out in high school,
Oh.
but by the end of the first movie or whatever, they were always out in college in the next ones,
Gotcha.
and it never really had the high school life of it. It was just they were in high school. You never experienced high school with them, and that's what was great about this one is because in the comics he's a high schooler. He's a kid. He's just learning, and that's what makes him relatable. And he makes his own gadgets, and which is one thing that's I'm okay with in the movie that Tony Stark gave him his stuff,
Yeah.
but at least he like he built his web shooters and stuff originally. But
I think I like the fact that they skipped most of the origin part
yeah,
of it.
we didn't have to
Yeah,
see
we didn't
Uncle
have to
Ben
see
die
that
again.
Yeah,
Too many times we've seen that.
yeah.
It's like ingrained in our.
I think that
memory.
was why because they've done it in each of the movie franchises prior to the Amazing Spider-Man and the other Spider-Man
Yeah.
franchises. They had that origin story, and that's what I loved about the video game as well. I think it was the video game that actually made me want to watch this movie that made me
I think it was, yeah.
want to watch all these movies, which is why we're here talking about it right now.
You know,
So thank you, Insomniac.
Yes.
Thank you, Insomniac, for starting this
For making
me.
a great Spider-Man game.
Speaking of origin stories, seeing the origin story for Vulture and all of his other henchmen,
he was a great villain.
that was
fantastic.
awesome.
That was
I
really
love
cool.
that.
Yeah.
Michael Keaton is fantastic. I love him, and yeah, he had a really good story, like a really good reason. He was a blue collar guy, and then
That was great.
the good guys, shoved him out and made him so he had to turn to other means to support his family, and it was it was a great arc.
morality, the gray morality.
Yeah, I
It
like
was
that.
great.
I wish that Tony Stark wasn't as prominent of a character in that movie as he was. I wish that it was more Happy than Tony, because
Which-
I really like Happy in that movie. Happy's interactions with Tony versus Happy's interactions with Peter are totally different. It
Yeah.
puts Happy on a whole new level, and it makes me like that character even more, seeing him interact with each of those people differently.
Yeah.
Which, did you watch the trailer for Far From Home yet?
Yes.
Okay. So it seems like we'll be getting more of Happy.
Right, yeah.
Who knows about Tony Stark, because
Right.
Endgame isn't out yet, so
Yeah.
they're not going to spoil that. But
Right.
Yeah.
at least with Happy being around, and seems like there's something firing up with him and Aunt May. I'm all for that.
When is that one coming out?
July, I believe.
Okay. And that's technically phase 4, right?
I believe, yeah, that's
think
the
it's
last
kicking
one
off.
of no, I think it's the last of Phase 3.
I thought Phase 3 was ending after Endgame. I thought it was Captain Marvel, then Endgame, and then Phase 4.
It might be.
I thought.
I'm not sure.
Okay. It would make sense that Endgame ended it.
Yeah. Well, Phase 2 didn't end with
No, it
Age
didn't.
of
It
Ultron,
ended with-
so
It ended with Ant-Man.
yeah. But yeah. Either way, yeah, it was a fantastic movie. I like that it set up Scorpion for a villain. Who knows if he's going to be in the next one, because he wasn't in the trailer, but he was the guy that Vulture sees in prison at the end, and
Right.
I've always liked Scorpion in like the games and the comics, and so I'm excited that it had those connections to other.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was cool seeing Shocker.
Yeah, the two versions of
them.
Shocker.
Right.
Two
Yeah,
versions.
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, that was sweet. I was like, oh man, we're getting like a mashup of all the cool.
Yeah.
Not only
Spider-Man
was
villains.
that Spider-Man, not only was that movie trying to like throw out villain after villain after villain to get them introduced. It seems like at this point the MCU's trying to throw out movie after movie after movie between the Avengers movies to get
Yeah.
Spider-Man and Black Panther and all of them introduced Doctor Strange before Infinity War.
Yeah.
Which is good, but it also kind of is like Star Wars as of late. It's too much.
What are you doing, Kyle?
Oh, I was trying to hold the orb. I was caressing
the
the orb.
Yeah,
I mean, I find it funny that it's right in my nether region.
now I find
You've
it
got
funny.
big ball.
Oh, boys.
But the tone too is what I think really set the movie apart from the previous Spider-Mans.
Yeah.
It was definitely, it was more playful. It was like said high school.
For me,
he
it-
goes to a dance at the end. That's like a classic, like 80s high school movie. I
It
loved
felt
it.
more like a coming of age comedy than it felt like a superhero movie to
Yeah.
me. And I think that's why I liked it, because I used to never really care for superhero
Yeah.
movies, and even to this day, I still don't extremely love them. They're
Yeah.
not my favorite, but it was definitely a coming of age comedy to me.
Yeah. Oh, and his suit AI. Karen, forgot about her. All over. When they're trapped in the bunker
they're,
together
like,
and they're just
bonding
talking, it's like,
together.
yeah, I love that so much.
The introduction of MJ kind of felt forced. It's like
Yeah.
they had to introduce her.
Yeah.
But I love it. It's it leaves it open for the next movie for her to be a.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not all butthurt because you know how people get when they're protective of the comics, like, no, MJ's supposed to be a redhead and she's a model and all this, and
yeah.
their movies, the comics are always there. I'm fine with the movies changing.
It was
things,
like
and she's
the-
still a good character.
The Power Rangers movie, how they played with everything, or like the character, who was what character,
Yeah.
who was what color ranger.
Well, I think they changed it to make it less racist, also.
Well, yeah, which is really good that they did that. Diversity is not a bad thing. I kind of got that same vibe.
Let's
from
put the Black Ranger in the black suit,
Right.
and the Asian Ranger in the yellow
Yeah.
suit. Yeah,
Who would have ever thought that was going to come back and back?
yeah.
Yeah.
But,
I
yeah.
actually like the Power Avengers movie.
It was enjoyable.
I quite enjoyed it.
I hope they make a sequel.
I still need to see that one.
Bryan Cranston equals Zordon equals me smiling.
Yeah. The villain, Elizabeth Banks, is
Weird
but-
choice for Rita.
yeah.
Weird choice.
Yeah. But it's not a Power Rangers podcast.
Did she say the iconic line in the movie?
Kind of. I think she
Make my
said
monster grow?
I think she said make my Goldar grow.
Oh,
I think.
Oh.
I could be wrong.
interesting.
Maybe she said that in like one of the first episodes of the TV show, but she did say make my monster. I don't know. I can. Anyway,
yeah.
She's not in Marvel, so
Thank God.
Liv Tyler was though.
Why?
It was in the early days. So the next one I think is probably all of our top threes.
Thor Ragnarok.
Yes.
Yeah, that was.
Yes.
I think it's
When this guy became awesome.
I think it's my second or third. I'm ducking under
Yeah.
Thor. My second or third favorite of the MCU.
Yeah.
Top three for sure.
Yeah, I can't decide which is my favorite, which is my second, which is my third. I can't decide
Yeah.
because
It's hard to rank things. I just have
Winter Soldier was
They're all
great.
great for
Ragnarok
different
was
reasons.
Was great, and Homecoming was great. Those are my three favorites. But yeah, Thor Ragnarok.
Such a
It didn't take place on Earth except like for a very little bit of the beginning, which is what I wanted in a Thor movie this whole time.
and it looked really green screeny.
Oh my god, it was the piss off ghost. I mean, come on,
Korg.
everything about this movie was just so much
My
better.
favorite. So many of my favorite characters in all the MCU are from this movie.
yes.
I actually liked Hulk in this movie.
I did too.
I didn't think that I was ever gonna like Hulk as I've liked Bruce Banner in the Avengers movies and whatnot, but I didn't think I was gonna actually like Hulk in one of these movies, and I actually really, really enjoyed him in this movie. Oh my god, it's my chair.
Oh, I thought someone was like breathing, panting really loud.
That's strange.
Anyway,
Okay.
Yeah.
sorry, my legs are getting restless. We've been here for oh my god, it's almost been 2 hours. This is a long episode. Long episode, boys. We're getting there though.
Another fun
Cold.
fact: the director played Korg. He did the motion capture and the
Oh,
voice.
did he?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
He also
Taika
did the
Waititi?
voice and motion capture for is it Surtur? At the very beginning, and at the end when he destroys
okay,
Asgard,
okay, yeah, yeah,
he did his voice too. But
Nice.
This movie was just a giant love letter to fans of like every piece of nerd culture. It felt like.
Not only that, it was like, okay, you've seen the Thor movies that we wanted to get out of the way. Now here's the Thor movie we wanted
Here's your
to make.
reward.
Here's the here's Loki being Loki throughout the entire movie. Oh my god, just everything about this movie was so good.
I loved Kate
Hilarious
Blanchett
movie.
as Hela.
Right?
She was
Like she
badass.
looked cool, like the way that like horns would grow out,
Yep.
and like her being
Good villain.
his sister. And yeah, just kicking ass in
She reminded
Asgard.
me a
She
little
killed the
bit-
Warriors 3.
She
I
reminded
know.
me of Rita from the Power Rangers movie once again, to bring that back to that. But that might just be the suit.
That could be, yeah. There was a lot of CG.
Yeah.
So, is it Hela?
Hela, yeah.
Hela, this is who Thanos is in love with, right? From the comics?
No.
I thought she was like
He's in love with Death.
Death.
There's an actual physical embodiment of Death in the comics.
Gotcha. Okay.
And that's okay. Well, fast forwarding to Infinity War really quick. In the comics, Infinity Gauntlet, they changed Thanos' motivations in the movie. Obviously, in the comic, he's trying to impress Death, because he wants to get with her, and so he's like, "I will do this. I will do this. I will destroy half the universe." And then he does it. And he's like, "That still doesn't impress you." And so
Gotcha.
he was basically he's a lot more mad because he's the Mad Titan. That's his title. And so in the comic, he's a lot more mad, like
Gotcha.
crazy, and so he's trying to press her.
I like that they changed it for the movie.
Yeah, it made it way more believable and grounded, yeah.
Right. Yeah.
But yeah, and then Anthony Hopkins, his swan song is
Yep. Rip.
Odin,
Rip.
which I thought was kind of sudden, but I mean it worked. It had to happen for
Right.
Thor's journey to continue.
Yeah. I loved the beginning of the movie.
Yeah.
The whole movie's amazing. I loved every minute of the movie.
The beginning of it though was so great because it was Loki just being pure Loki. It was fantastic. The play at the beginning, and it was making light of the entire ending of the last Thor movie where Loki dies.
Yeah,
Air quotes.
with random cameo from Matt Damon, which was hilarious. Yeah.
I was really happy that he was relegated to such a minor role in the Marvel universe.
Every time I see Matt Damon now, I see Carol from 30 Rock. Because he played the pilot Carol, which was his boyfriend at the end of the series.
That's right.
I also see Brett Kavanaugh because of his SNL.
Yeah.
Oh, Matt Damon's great.
He really is.
Like he used to just be Jason Bourne to me, but now he's Brett Kavanaugh.
He's so much more. And fake Loki.
And fake Loki, yes.
The guy playing Thor in that play was actually Chris Hemsworth's brother. Yeah.
It's Chris Hemsworth.
Luke Hemsworth.
Luke Hemsworth?
He was in Westworld, too.
Yeah.
Kyle, I know you've seen that.
I have. Yeah. Amazing show.
Yeah, and the Grandmaster, we talked about him a little bit, but Jeff Goldblum as fantastic. I love it's Jeff Goldblum just being Jeff Goldblum. Like, just be yourself.
Yeah. It was like they wrote out like what they wanted the character to do, and he's like, they're like, just do it how you think it should be done.
Just improvise.
Like, it's the way he talks and emphasizes certain things. It's just brilliant. And his like little henchwoman too.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Me personally, I love Carl Urban.
Yeah. I've always been a huge fan of Carl Urban. It was cool seeing him as Scourge. I thought, like, before the movie came out, I was like, he's just going to be like another bad guy.
Right. Yeah.
But the story they gave him, like, he's just trying to, he just wants to be somebody. It's like, it's hilarious. Yeah. And he redeemed himself at the end. And yeah.
I didn't care much about Hulk's story in this movie. That he was just, he didn't know who he was or why he was where he was. But his presence in the movie made it more than it would have been without him there,
yeah.
I think.
Yeah. And they were mashing up like a couple different comics. Like in the comics, Planet Hulk is a story where Hulk gets crash landed on a planet and he has to fight like gladiator style with these stuff. Then he starts a revolution and they leave the planet and stuff. And then he eventually gets back to Earth and starts World War Hulk, where he just kicks everybody's ass because the Avengers are the one that sent him to that planet.
Gotcha.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
So
movie.
Everyone around this time had been clamoring for a Planet Hulk movie. And so when they said, oh, Hulk's going to be in Thor's next movie, they're like, oh, and so they mashed it up because, they can't do a Hulk solo movie.
Right.
It was a way to kind of get one of his big storylines into a movie. And the way they mashed it with Thor's story, I thought worked really well.
Do you think we'll ever get a solo Hulk movie ever again?
I hope not.
Probably not.
Not anytime soon.
I wouldn't be interested in one. I mean, they could make one that would be good and I'd end up watching it years after.
I'm a huge Hulk fan, so I'd be excited, but I don't think it would be anytime soon. It'd be a decade down the road.
I'm not a fan of The Incredible or the Hogan one. I don't like either of them, honestly.
Just no Hulks. No Hulks given.
No. I gotta say, Thor Ragnarok had the best soundtrack.
It really did. The use of Immigrant Song.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Pitch perfect.
For the intro, man. That was kick ass.
Yeah,
I was like, from the moment I was like sitting in my seat and that came on, I just went,
that's exactly what I did too. Like I didn't know exactly.
So much fun.
I didn't know what to expect with this movie, and I was watching it with Ashley.
Yeah,
and
I watched it with my girlfriend too.
Yeah, and we were just both sitting.
I watched it with my wife too.
And when that movie or when that song started, or when he first walked in, it was like all dark and fiery. He's like talking to the skeleton or whatever, and then when that fight scene starts and the music starts playing, I'm like, okay, that's the kind of movie I want to watch.
Yep. Man, just from the moment they kicked off the movie, you just knew you were going to have a good time.
Yeah.
And Tessa Thompson is Valkyrie. I liked her a lot. Too. Yeah. She's quickly becoming one of my favorite actresses.
She's awesome.
And I liked her.
She's got a lot of range, too.
Yeah, she had a lot of swagger, just like not giving an F. And like when she steps off her ship and she falls off the steps. It was a great introduction.
Yeah. That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Great movie.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, man.
Which goes on to the next movie.
Yes.
Which is?
Black Panther?
Yes.
Nice. Black Panther took me by surprise.
That was,
I remember you said you didn't. You thought it, because it was so overhyped for you,
really
it kind of let you down?
The movie was overhyped. It did not.
Well, I didn't watch it until way after it was out on Blu-ray.
Oh, okay.
So when I think I actually watched it on Netflix. Or did I borrow it from you? I think I watched
You watched it on Netflix because I don't own it yet. I'm waiting for the Phase 3 set.
Everybody that had seen that movie said nothing but great things about it, so I was expecting it to be the best movie ever, and I had just watched Thor Ragnarok, and that was one of my favorite movies. So I was expecting it to be a lot better, and I watched them back to back. That was a lot of the problem with it.
Probably, yeah.
Oh,
That
probably.
I didn't enjoy it as
Oh
much.
yeah, Thor's like up here, and Black Panther's kind of like middle ground.
Right. It was a great. I guess it wasn't an introduction to his character, but it's a great introduction to his backstory and to his.
His land of Wakanda.
Yeah, the whole
Wakanda forever.
I never freeze.
everything about
face.
Wakanda that had only been mentioned in the previous MCU movies, like the vibranium shield and having the Accords, and that was when the embassy was bombed and everything, all that stuff. That kind of making it all make sense as a backstory to this movie was it was well written. It was a very well written movie, very well casted and acted movie. I loved the was it his sister?
Shuri?
Yeah, one of my favorite Marvel characters right now in these movies.
Yeah,
I think it was the first middle finger in a Marvel movie too, wasn't it? I can't remember another one.
It makes sense.
But when she flips him off,
yeah,
that was funny.
Yeah, I like to, just Wakanda. I think I told you this, Robert. Like,
Oh,
I wanted to live there.
you've talked at length about Wakanda.
I want to
Yeah.
live in Wakanda. It looks awesome, fun time.
It's another great piece of world building that they do really well, and it makes you want to visit there. You want to be there. And
Give me that purple juice. I want some.
it was them having Wakanda there is such a big part of the movie. It was kind of like what I liked about Thor Ragnarok so much is that it didn't take place in like Manhattan.
Yeah.
Like all the other Marvel movies is in New
Which
York.
I did want to mention about Spider-Man too is also great. Is the other Spider-Man's he's in Manhattan the whole time. He's swinging through buildings,
Right,
and this
right.
it stayed to the Bronx or whatever, and he never was swinging through skyscrapers, which I thought was brave for them to do, and it worked out.
Yeah. Well, they went to DC, didn't they?
Yeah, but it's like one tall building.
Right.
He's not like swinging next to the Empire State Building,
No, I know.
like the other ones. But
Yeah.
But yeah, the soundtrack I loved in Black Panther. I thought it was a great soundtrack because I've always loved like African beats and all that, like
I
tribal
love-
music, and I loved how it incorporated it into traditional MC
like,
music.
Yeah, how it went from like it was the perfect mix of like a hip hop and tribal.
That too, yeah.
Yeah, it was. I was blown away by it. Actually, I didn't expect it. That was one of my favorite parts of the movie.
Yeah.
Was the music. I didn't expect to like it that much, especially once again after Thor Ragnarok.
Yeah, you shouldn't have done those back to back. man.
Well, I mean, I was binging him. And
Yeah, I know.
I knew that I was only gonna have a certain amount of time because I can only watch stuff with my fiance when she's not in school, and
Makes sense.
yeah.
Yeah, I enjoyed it a lot, like more than you guys. But
Black Panther was a fun movie.
and it's nominated for an Oscar now.
Best Picture,
Yeah,
which is incredible.
yeah. Marvel's first Best Picture win, which
It
it was a great movie.
I think Infinity War.
I don't know if
should
it
be
was.
Best Picture.
See, that'd be a lot harder to be Best Picture because
I
it's
don't think so.
it's not a traditional structure for a movie,
It's not, but
and it's a bunch of old people that
Yeah.
make the
Yeah.
nominations. So
Going back to Black Panther, though, I think what made it so underwhelming for me was I liked the characters, but I didn't like the actual superhero of Black Panther. Like, I didn't care for the fact that it's just basically a suit and some juice.
He's
that
like Iron Man.
Yeah.
he's
and
like Iron Man.
I didn't care for the powers. Like, it seemed like a very run-of-the-mill superhero to me with claws.
I think Black Panther needs to be fleshed out because he's apparently like a spirit communicator with the purple juice. Like you see,
Well, yeah, he talks to his dad.
yeah, like that whole scene was incredible. But I feel like he's going to play a huge role in future movies,
oh yeah,
especially in the next Avengers, because he'll be like communing with the rest
Yeah.
who got snapped.
that's a good point.
I can see that.
M'Baku.
M'Baku!
I love him. He is great, and he's another one who's like he's a villain in the comics. He's Man-Ape.
Well, they kind of
So
showed him as a villain type
Yeah.
character at the beginning of
but
it.
it was a lot more. Yeah, like I said, but they came together and he was
Right.
more friendly. So I'm wondering if down the road they'll turn him more villainy. But I love that he wasn't in this movie, and I loved his character.
He became a bro at the end.
Yeah, he became
Which is awesome.
It's like they did that same thing with Winter Soldier and Captain America.
Yeah.
They did the same thing with Thor and Loki, obviously, because they all have deep histories together.
yeah.
And
And Killmonger, which is one of everyone's like saying the best villain under Loki. Which I wasn't blown away by him. I love
Yeah.
Michael B.
No,
Jordan,
Michael B.
but
Jordan's great,
he
but-
did have. I mean, you could believe his reasons for wanting to
Yeah.
do what he did. I thought having the flashback to like 90s Compton and like
Yeah,
showing
yeah.
that
Cool
was
way to kick off the movie.
Oh my god,
Yeah.
yeah. It really
That
put you.
That was not how I was expecting it to start.
It put you in the mindset of that character
Yeah.
and why his
Not just
background.
that, but the community as well.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It was a good way to kick it off.
yeah.
We're almost about wrapped up, right?
Wakanda forever.
I guess 2 more. Yeah,
I had to
End
do
of
it.
the
I'm
Wasp?
sorry.
Or is that after Avengers?
that's after Avengers.
Okay.
So Infinity War.
We're on
So
Infinity
we're
War.
The big
We're on
one.
The big one,
The
yeah.
big one.
You guys talk, I'll listen, and I'll interject.
I love this movie so much.
Yep.
I think
One
it's
of the best movies of all time, I think.
it might be my favorite MCU movie. I think
By
I've
far.
rewatched it the most since I bought it, and there's like so much I love about it. I don't know what to say. I love Thanos.
I gotta say,
he did nothing wrong. I will say that
This movie,
Thanos did nothing wrong.
this movie made me like going to the movie theaters,
It was definitely an event.
like for a midnight release, because I've had bad experiences with midnight releases. Specifically, Transformers: Revenge of the Fallen.
We need more comfortable chairs.
I'm
That was disappointing as hell.
We'll invest in some comfy chairs.
But just the moments like
Yeah.
that people have been waiting 10 years for to see happen on screen. It was
Seeing the
incredible.
Guardians interact with Tony Stark and Spider-Man, and
Yeah,
them
Doctor
being in
Strange
space. I love the structure of the movie. I love that you're just thrown into it because it's not really supposed to be a movie. It's supposed to be it's like a TV episode. You're supposed to have watched everything before it
Right.
Yeah,
and just
it
go
rewarded
right into it.
fans.
So you're just thrown right into it.
Yeah.
I love that the whole movie is, just Thanos on a warpath. He's just getting closer and closer to Earth, and everyone's just trying to stop him.
Yeah.
I loved like the ticking time bomb aspect of it. And yeah, Thanos was great. Josh Brolin,
Yes,
Josh
absolutely.
Brolin killed.
fantastic.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Which, God, that was the tease at the end of the first Avengers, is when you first saw him. He looked completely different.
oh yeah,
I'm glad they changed it.
Yeah, I'm glad too.
But yeah, think of it. From then, this was a culmination from all the way back in the first Avengers, and finally having the guy that's been pulling the strings.
it's been like hinted at in all like the after credit scenes, just to see it finally fleshed out.
It did not disappoint, and I went in with high expectations, and it exceeded every one of them.
Just all the character interactions, like seeing Iron Man and Cap reunite,
Yeah.
and just all these awesome fights happening. Like seeing Doctor Strange.
Iron Man and Cap didn't reunite.
I thought they got in touch with each other. Oh, they didn't. That's right.
No.
I was thinking of another moment in the movie when he was trying to get a hold of Cap on the phone.
Yeah.
I thought they did talk, but I guess I was wrong.
No.
Okay.
It's
But
sad.
yeah, no, what you're saying with Doctor Strange,
Yeah.
I love his, like how he would just like rent.
I like how
really
he-
quickly work to make a
He-
portal.
Yeah.
He leveled up like from novice to master
Yeah.
in like the span of 2 movies.
Yeah, he Obi-Wan that.
I mean, it was really cool to see him like as like a master magician, and just be like the guy who knows what's going down.
Spider-Man's inclusion in that movie was fantastic.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm a fan of this new Spider-Man. I really am.
Yeah.
And seeing it through the eyes of a kid who doesn't know anything about what's going on, and then seeing what happens to him at the end of the movie when he's vanishing,
Yeah.
it's actually like heartbreaking hearing him say, "I don't want to go."
Yeah.
Yeah, that's yeah.
Yeah, God, I love the ending.
Seeing the new Spider-Man suit was a great moment. Like everybody in the theater just was like, "Yeah!"
The Iron Spidey, yeah. I loved it when the legs pop out of his back, because that's a big thing of the Iron Spidey suit in the comics, and just lots of moments like that where you're like, I thought I'd only see that in comic books, and
Right.
then stuff happens, and
Like they know their audience.
yeah. Gamora and Thanos, I thought that plot was really well done.
Yeah, I really like the motivation of Thanos.
Yeah,
It
I do
made
too.
him much more relatable than just a villain doing villainous things.
Yeah, he thinks he's righteous. He thinks
Right.
he's, I'm doing it for you guys. I'm trying to make it better for everyone else that doesn't get snapped
The
away.
snap was justified.
Thanos 2020.
I know he was doing it to impress his lady, but it made sense. It made fiscal sense for the universe. It did. resources are sparse. You gotta have somebody make a decision.
What he could have done is just shut down the entire universe until he got.
And I've seen the argument where it's like, well, why didn't he
Nice.
snap some trees and extra fish in the sea?
Exactly. He had the
It's
power
like-
to do literally anything.
It's not as impressive.
No, but he's
It's
also
more impressive to be like, bam.
he's also the Mad Titan. So his logic is flawed, but he thinks he's
in
right.
his mind, it's justified, and it's the way to go.
Yeah, and then her finding out that before he sacrifices her to get the Soul Stone, that moment of realization on her when she's like, she's laughing because she doesn't think you don't care about it, you don't love anything,
Right.
and then she realizes that he did love her in his own way. And that moment was like, oh my gosh,
Yeah, heartbreaking.
yeah,
Yeah,
I do like how each of the characters had like their own quest that they had to complete. Like Thor had to get his,
Stormbreaker.
Yeah. Him and Rocket Raccoon. That was great.
That was the
the odd couples.
Yeah.
The odd couple.
the only
Little
part I
Robots.
wasn't super big on in the movie was the Eitri the dwarf, played by Peter Dinklage.
That was the worst part of the
I thought it was. It looked weird.
Yeah.
I get that. Yeah, he's a dwarf, but they're like giant dwarves or whatever.
was
But
dumb.
I had no problem with the scene. I just thought he looked out of place.
Yeah.
I think my favorite thing about that entire movie was that it ended, and it was exactly
Oh boy, it ended.
it was what Thanos wanted. And
Yeah, is Thanos his movie?
my favorite
It was.
part of it
He was the
though
main character.
was that Ashley looks over at me and is like, that can't be the end. That can't be the end of the movie. And
Oh, man.
it's like, well, yeah, there's gonna be another one though.
You should have been. You should have been in the theater when that happened, man. It was dead silence.
Yeah, it was
Everybody
silent.
gasped.
That's how every movie should always be in a movie theater. Is dead silence.
It was
Nobody should
incredible.
ever talk or breathe or make a sound
No, but
when
to
I'm watching
hear
a movie
all
that I
these
want to
cheers
watch.
for these moments, like Iron Man,
can't
like
stand
kicking Thanos' ass for a second, and Doctor Strange kicking ass, and then you just have this moment when the snap happens. Everyone's like, "Oh my god, oh my god, no!" And then at the very end, when Thanos is just like, "Yeah," everyone's just like,
Yeah,
"It was incredible."
I love the very end when it's just Captain America.
Yeah,
It's just like, oh god,
Yeah,
and it's boom black.
yeah.
it's like seeing
perfect.
all these characters over the past 10 years just vanish. Like it was insane. Like the emotions running in the room.
Yeah.
That's what makes going to the theater worth it, Kevin.
No, I'd rather not experience
It
other
was-
people's emotions.
We're gonna go see Endgame together, whether you like it or not.
I
I'll
have-
snap you into
I will watch that
the
if,
theater.
If Ashley can go with us, I will watch it because I am watching them with her.
Yes.
But yeah,
And Thor really, he was badass when
Thor
he
was-
shows up
that
on
was
the
the best
battlefield in Wakanda.
Everybody
That is-
was like, "Hell yeah!" Like when that
He's
happened.
just throwing his axe, whoosh,
Like,
going
I
through
was,
everybody.
like, stunned. I
Yeah.
was like, "This is the Thor that we all deserve."
I love
That guy
moment.
right there.
he had his level up movie, and now he's ready.
Yeah. Yeah, and he got so close, so close.
I know, right?
He should have aimed for his head.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But and Star Lord
He ruined
in
the
his moment of
weakness.
childish anger. Yeah, they were so close. They almost had it.
He
and
ruined
then,
it, man.
Yeah, that I really like. I was like, oh my gosh,
was
they're
the
actually
true
going to do it at that scene.
He was
Like-
the true villain.
Yeah, I was surprised they got that far. Honestly,
and then Scarlet Witch and Vision.
yeah,
I didn't really care for their odd romance, but it
That's
made
straight out
sense
of the
what
comics
it was leading.
for
It
them,
also
yeah.
made
Yeah.
sense with what it led up to, with Thanos getting that last Infinity Stone.
yeah.
It
Which-
made sense.
I love the movie so much. Yeah, when she breaks it and then she thinks it's over, and he just rewinds time and does it again. It's like,
You were wrong.
And then
I wish I had one of those.
right. Hey, you got two. You start collecting.
There you go. Yeah.
Yeah, and then the ending. Like, I want to know what the next one's gonna be so much because the Infinity Gauntlets. It's like, is it broken? Can he use the stones? And then-
Right.
but yeah, just a sense of completion. He's like, he did his job.
It's a
He did what he
job
wanted
well
to do, and he's
done.
just
He was a
relaxing
hard
on his
worker.
farm.
It was a
Yeah.
job done.
All that was missing was him holding a glass of iced tea, sitting on a lawn chair and just enjoying the sun. That's all that was missing.
Yeah.
and the sunglasses at the end, like deal with it. You know,
That would have been great.
It feels weird talking about this movie because this was the pinnacle of what it was leading up to for leading up to Endgame. And now we have to talk about Ant-Man and the Wasp.
Yeah.
Which wasn't a bad movie.
no,
It just,
not by any means.
talking about it after Infinity War seems weird because that's where we're going to leave it off with.
Anticlimactic, yeah.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to Captain Marvel, though. But yeah, Ant-Man and the Wasp, I liked it about as much as I did the first movie, the first Ant-Man. It was a comedy. It was okay.
Yeah. This is one even though it's like the most recent one I've seen, besides rewatching Infinity War, but it's like I remember the least about.
Yeah.
For me, what I most remember about it is Evangeline Lilly.
Yeah.
Wow.
Wow.
Wasp.
He was yikes.
I enjoyed the character of Wasp in the movie a lot. I loved that she was like the co-headliner.
Yeah.
It wasn't just, Ant-Man and then something Wasp. It was
Right.
Ant-Man and the Wasp.
I loved the parallels with the new Ant-Man and Wasp versus the old Ant-Man and Wasp.
Yeah.
Her parents. And the whole I lost my mom, but now I've got her at the end of the movie again, and then Ant-Man's gone. And
Yeah. God, that was a great and great
that
scene.
threw Ashley off. I actually that scene when Ant-Man goes into the quantum realm to collect the juices.
Juices.
Purple
and,
juice.
and he tries to get out, and I'm like, oh, that's when Thanos snapped. And she's like,
Yeah. Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking. Yeah, that was the best part of the movie was that incredible.
That's what's
scene.
great about it, is that it
it
sets
tied
up
it all back around.
Endgame really well.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
it gives you an idea of what's to come.
Yeah.
I personally am super excited because of Ant-Man and the Wasp.
Yeah.
It's weird to me that
Seeing that in theater was great.
one of the best parts of the trailer for Endgame was Ant-Man showing up in the van.
Yeah.
It's weird that I like so much that he's one of the only people left right now because he's the comic relief that is still there
Yeah.
for right now.
Yeah, let's see. Captain Marvel's after that.
Yeah, that's
So that's coming up next
Next
month.
month.
The tease at the end of Infinity War with
Yeah.
the pager.
Yeah.
It's everybody's first introduction.
Motherfuck.
I love that they got that in. Yeah.
That was a great moment.
Yeah, so I'm really excited for that one. Excited to see how it all. Like, I love that it's another period piece because it's in the 90s.
That's
Right.
cool too, yeah.
So I mean, yeah, it's going to be, I think, more of an origin, but it seems like it's going to be different because it's, I guess, from the way it starts out it's just her. She's already in, like, has her powers and everything, and then it goes back like we've seen in the trailer with the flashbacks. So she's learning how she got her powers because she doesn't remember.
Right.
So it seems like it's going to be different enough that it's going to be really unique and first female-led Marvel movie.
Yeah.
That's exciting.
Yeah. A DC
really
did it
looking
with Wonder
forward to that.
Woman.
And I love
worked
Brie
out for them,
Larson,
so.
so
Brie Larson's a great actress.
Yeah. Then Endgame is going to be after that.
yep, like 2 months after that.
It's going to be a great year
Mm-hmm.
for the Marvel movies.
I'm hoping.
And then Spider-Man Far
Spider-Man.
From Home a couple months after that.
I'm stoked. I'm really excited for that.
It's going to be great.
Yeah.
It's going to be a good year.
Well, that was a lot to talk about. I think we got it done in just over
Yeah.
2 hours.
Actually, yeah, it was 2 hours ago.
Yeah.
Nice. We
Not
did
bad.
it.
We actually sat here. My legs are cramping up like hardcore.
My feet are ice blocks right now.
Mine too.
Well, Robert's not wearing shoes, and he walked in water earlier. Not on water, but
Yeah,
in
how
water.
the hell are you not freezing to death, boy?
And we live in the Pacific Northwest, so it's not like we've got the negative 60 wind chills that the Midwest or had
Yeah.
going on. But
Yeah, if we were in Chicago recording this,
Oh
we'd
my
be
gosh.
dead.
oh my gosh. Our studio's a garage, so
Yeah.
But it's like I think it's 40 degrees right now, so it's not that bad. 45, 50, somewhere in there. That's not Marvel. Anyway,
I never faced.
Marvel doesn't have weather.
so if you had to say what your favorite Marvel movie in this series that have been released thus far, you guys would probably both pick Infinity War by the sounds of
Infinity
it?
War is the top spot
Yeah,
just because of all the payoffs it had for the fans who've stuck with it from the beginning.
I'd
Okay.
say Infinity War.
After that, I'd say Thor Ragnarok. That's just a fun movie.
Same for
I don't
mine,
even care that it's a superhero movie. I just find it's an entertaining movie.
It's a fantastic movie.
Yeah.
It's,
Yeah.
it's a great movie.
And then after that, I'd probably pick. I would say Ant-Man.
Okay.
Wow.
Interesting.
Because I just love how it takes like a art heist type movie and
Yeah.
it turns into a comedy.
Yeah.
And the visual effects were just phenomenal. And after that, I would put Doctor Strange at the same level.
Wow.
For that reason. So that'd be my third place.
Nice.
What would your top 3 be?
Makes sense.
Because I was going to do favorite one, but apparently we're doing top 3
Top
slash 4.
3.
Well, he did 4.
He
Yeah.
did 4.
Well, they're tied.
Like I said, my top 2 are the same: Infinity War and I think Ragnarok. I think my third one might be Homecoming, though.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
My top one, I don't know. My top one's a tie between Thor Ragnarok and Spider-Man Homecoming. Because Spider-Man Homecoming was what got me into watching all these movies, but Thor Ragnarok was, okay, I'll say it, Thor Ragnarok was the better movie. Thor Ragnarok was number 1 for me. Number 2, Spider-Man Homecoming. 3, probably either Civil War or Winter Soldier, honestly. I didn't have that same level of payoff from watching Infinity War that you
That's
guys
true.
did, because
That's true.
I watched them all at once. I didn't
Yeah.
wait years for it.
Yeah.
I've been in this fight since I was 6 years old.
Nice.
different series, but it fits.
Yeah.
Do you think we have time to cover the other Marvel movies that have come
We
out?
do not, but we
Damn it,
might
no.
do it some other time.
Non MCU Marvel movies. That'll be a different show.
And video games, probably.
Okay.
But yeah, what are your guys' favorite movies in the Marvel MCU universe? Marvel MCU universe? The Marvel Cinematic Universe.
It's the official title.
Right, yeah, now it is. Let us know. Hit us up on Twitter at PushingButtonsP, Instagram
Yeah.
at
Whoa.
PushingButtonsPodcast.
That's new.
Yeah. Everything's on pushingbuttonspodcast.com. You can check us out on Twitch when we live stream our video game shenaniganeries.
Twitch.tv/pushingbuttons.
Yeah. Follow us there. Subscribe to us anywhere. Like, share. And thank you very much for watching and listening.
Thank
We've
you.
enjoyed it. Until next time.
Adios.
Adios.
Bye-bye.
Love you.